Chapter 12-17. Do you want to believe me? Xiao Xiao nodded and walked into the bedroom with Lin Yi. She actually wanted to sleep on the same bed as Lin Yi, but her bed was too small for two people. If the two of them slept together, they'd have to hug each other. That position was too ambiguous. Xiao Xiao liked Lin Yi, but the thought of sleeping with Lin Yi like that still made her blush. Go to sleep, I'll watch over you. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. He didn't want to squeeze into the same bed with Xiao Xiao, and Lin Yi could sleep sitting down. Lin Yi wanted to try breaking through after entering the jade space. Oh! Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she saw that Lin Yi wasn't planning on squeezing into the same bed as her, but she was also a little disappointed. Go to sleep. Lin Yi moved Xiao Xiao's chair to the bed, turned off the light and sat on it. Xiao Xiao laid on the bed but didn't close her eyes. In the dark, her eyes rolled around, sizing up Lin Yi. She thought Lin Yi couldn't see, but Lin Yi's vision was better than anyone else's in the dark. Why aren't you sleeping? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao's eyes, amused. How did you know I wasn't asleep? Xiao Xiao paused. I can see you. Lin Yi shrugged helplessly. Ah, you're so strong, Lin Yi honey. Xiao Xiao said. Do you have the legendary fiery eyes of truth? Lin Yi was speechless. I'm a cultivator. Naturally, I can see things clearly in the dark. This has nothing to do with the fiery eyes of truth. If that's the case, then tell me, if I also cultivate, would I not die? This was the first time Xiao Xiao had talked about death with Lin Yi, and since Lin Yi already knew about it, she didn't need to hide it anymore. This is possible. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, but there's not enough time. There's still a glimmer of hope if I start cultivating from a young age, but now, Tang Yun had already told Lin Yi that Xiao Xiao knew that they knew the truth when Xiao Xiao went to the kitchen, so Lin Yi wasn't surprised. I understand. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed Lin Yi didn't finish his sentence, but she already knew the answer. She didn't have time to train now, so she didn't need to think about all this. Xiao Xiao, do you believe me? Lin Yi took a deep breath and asked. Of course I do. Xiao Xiao nodded, confused. I can definitely cure your illness. You won't die. Remember this, be happy every day, don't think too much. Lin Yi's face was very serious when he said this, not just to comfort Xiao Xiao, but from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to solve this problem. Yeah, of course I believe you, I look forward to that day. Xiao Xiao couldn't see the expression on Lin Yi's face in the dark, and naturally thought that Lin Yi was comforting her. But Xiao Xiao had gotten over it long ago, and she wouldn't be bothered by death. Go to sleep, we have school tomorrow. Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao clearly didn't believe him, but that wasn't important anymore. The important thing was that he had to have confidence, and no matter what, he had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, no matter what price he had to pay. Xiao Xiao closed her eyes. Lin Yi was right, she still had school tomorrow, and she was really tired. Lin Yi waited until Xiao Xiao fell asleep before entering the jade space and starting a new round of training. The Xiao family's villa, on the other hand, was brightly lit. The living room of the Xiao family's villa was filled with smoke, and Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were sitting on the sofa with furrowed brows, smoking. Motherfucker, these people really are bad. They're working with us Xiao family to earn money, but when it comes to teaching Enchanting Industries a lesson, they all shrink back, saying they don't have enough cash. Brother, tell me, what the hell is this? They're all ingrates. Xiao Ji was quite pissed off this afternoon. The two brothers had visited all their business partners, and it wasn't that they didn't have enough cash, but that their business projects had taken up most of their manpower and energy. In short, none of them agreed to take down Enchanting Industries in the stock market. Bro, don't worry, Xiao Ben sighed. This is actually human nature. Working with us, the Xiao family, and using our Xiao family's name as the sun in the sky, they'll be able to earn money no matter what they do, but taking down Enchanting Industries in the stock market. If we don't do it right, we'll lose money. Enchanting Industries is different from normal companies too. There aren't many tradable shares, and most of them are in the hands of Enchanting Industries and the major shareholders. Even if we take all the shares in the stock market, we'll only be a small shareholder. There's no point in doing this. Old Wang told us this afternoon, and I realized that this method isn't very feasible. Then what do we do? Give up this chance just like that? Lin Yi's in the hospital and Enchanting has so many properties. If we don't take this chance, it'll be a waste. Xiao Ji felt that it was a pity. There's nothing we can do. Who told Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to be in the hospital? That hero is just too strong, attacking Xiao family at a time like this. Even if we want to take Pingzhan's properties, we don't have any cards up our sleeves. Xiao Ben sighed. Now that Pingzhan isn't going to budge, we can only get Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to do it. I don't want to. Xiaoji was a little depressed. Forget it, we'll find another opportunity. When Elder Pai and Mr. Pai are out of the hospital, we'll have a chance to teach Pingzhan a lesson. Xiao Ben said. The meeting of the noble houses is about to start and we should be active. This year our Xiao family should be able to get a good spot, second only to House Yu. Yes, you're right. I'll go to Yanjing tomorrow and pay Shuixing a visit. Xiaoji nodded. Xiao family's revenge could only come to a temporary standstill, and they could only wait for the right time to deal a fatal blow to House Chu. At the same time in Yuan's house, Yu Ren looked at his wife who was tidying up the house. He felt like he was dreaming. Recovered just like that. His wife's leg was bitten off by a lion and it was so serious, but she recovered just like that. Yu Ren was stunned by the scene in the hospital, and he didn't come back to reality until he got home. Only now did he know that everything was real. Chapter 12:18. Chapter 12:16. Gooden's confessional. It's nothing. Are you really cured? Your leg doesn't hurt at all? Yu Ren still didn't believe it. What are you talking about? How can I clean the house if my leg hurts? Mrs. Yu said, annoyed. Did Gooden's boss really cure it? Isn't this too amazing? Yu Ren felt that this was unbelievable. Weren't you there too? Why are you asking such a stupid question? Mrs. Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It really was cured. It's too amazing. Yu Ren sighed. Gooden's boss is really amazing. When he has time I'll definitely invite him to our house and thank him properly. Are you planning something bad again? Mrs. Yu glared at Yu Ren and asked. Of course not. I was just thinking that since Gooden's boss is so amazing, I should ask him to help Gooden and Yuan. Yu Ren explained. That's good, I thought you liked him and wanted to marry Yuan to him. Mrs. Yu breathed out in relief. I like him but he doesn't like our Yuan. Didn't he say he already has a girlfriend? Yu Ren shook his head. I've thought it through after the underground arena incident. People need to learn to be satisfied, to be content. Everything in front of us is enough. Don't dream about those unrealistic things. Yuan being able to find a man like Gooden is her fortune. As for someone like Lin Yi, Yuan might not fall for him. You're finally realistic. If you were like this earlier, you wouldn't have been tricked by others. Mrs. Yu shook her head and said helplessly. If I wasn't tricked, I wouldn't have met Gooden, and our family wouldn't have such a good life now. Yu Ren said proudly. At the same time in Yuan's room, Gooden's expression was serious. This time he wanted to talk to Yuan about the future. Gooden might look like a fool but he wasn't an idiot. He had his own plans. Zhou Jiaming, what do you want to say to me? Yuan was a bit shy, lowering her head, not daring to look at Gooden. Her hand clutched the corner of her shirt, a bit nervous. A man and a woman alone in a room, she was afraid that Gooden would do something to her. I have something very important to tell you. Gooden sighed before saying seriously. What is it? Yuan's heart tightened. Was Gooden confessing to her? The two of them being together was a little interesting but they never made it clear. Today would Gooden, Yuan, I'll be going back home soon. Gooden said. Yuan paused, not expecting Gooden's first words to be leaving. She didn't know what to do. Naturally she didn't want Gooden to leave after all this time. She had developed feelings for him, how could she let him leave? Yuan, I have a reason why I have to go back, so I want to ask you, will you go back with me in the future? Gooden looked at Yuan and asked word by word. Yuan was dumbfounded. This Gooden was too direct, wasn't he? Who asked a girl like that? You didn't even confess and you're asking me to go back with you? Wasn't this a bit too fast? I know too, you're a girl born in a big city. Why would you want to go to a small village with me? Gooden looked at Yuan's expression and laughed at himself. Forget it, pretend I didn't say anything. With that he turned around and was about to leave Yuan's room. Gooden wasn't an idiot, but he was an honest man. He thought that Yuan was rejecting him when she didn't say anything. In order to avoid the awkwardness, Gooden decided that he should leave as soon as possible. It wouldn't be good for them to be friends in the future. Yuan was even more stunned now. What kind of person was this? He didn't even say much and he just turned around and left. What do you mean, why would I want to? How do you know I don't want to? You're even answering for me? Zhou Jiaming, you bastard. Yuan Yuan panicked. Stop right there. This time it was Gooden's turn to be dumbfounded. He didn't think that the usually gentle Yuan Yuan would get angry, cursing at him. Gooden turned around and looked at Yuan Yuan carefully, not sure what was wrong with her. How do you know I don't want to? You think you have superpowers? You can see what I'm thinking? Yuan Yuan glared at Gooden. Then you're willing? Gooden blinked and then became happy. He finally understood why Yuan Yuan was angry. You didn't even confess to me, why should I go back with you? Yuan Yuan snorted and did not answer. Heh. Gooden of course understood what Yuan Yuan was thinking. It seemed like Yuan Yuan agreed to go with him and he misunderstood. Gooden scratched his head. Yuan Yuan, I actually like you and I want you to be my wife. What the hell are you talking about? Do you even know how to confess? Yuan Yuan rolled her eyes. It was such a romantic moment and this guy was acting like this. It's like that, it's fine as long as you know. I'm not that good with words, you know. Gooden explained helplessly. Forget it, I don't understand romance. Yuan Yuan couldn't do anything about this, thinking that Gooden had always been like this, she didn't mind. Instead she felt a bit of sweetness in her heart. Nothing could compare to what Gooden said just now. He wanted her to be his wife. Nowadays there were quite a number of young couples who made vows of undying love. But when it came to marriage, their vows of undying love became bullshit. Some guys just wanted to have fun and some girls didn't like guys because they didn't have a car or a house. Gooden wasn't romantic at all, but it was practical. Are you coming back with me or not? Gooden was panicking. Yuan Yuan still hadn't given him a definite answer. But what about my parents? Yuan Yuan was worried about her parents. Chapter 12:19. Heavenly Benefits. Dumb people have dumb luck meeting a good boss. Yuan Yuan was a bit speechless, but Lin Yi looked like a smart guy. He should have a way to solve this problem, right? In the Jade space, Lin Yi had failed his 20th attempt at Mystic Mid-Phase Peak. Lin kid, I told you you're still lacking. You just need to train for a few more days and maybe you'll be able to break through. You're just wasting your time, aren't you? Jiao Yazi shook his head as he looked at Lin Yi's failure. Jiao Lao, I can't accept this. If I want to save Xiao Xiao, I need to get stronger. Only when I'm Sky Class can I extend her life. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. Forgive me for being blunt, but even if you're a training genius, you won't be able to reach Sky Class before Xiao Xiao dies. Jiao Lao said, it's good to have a goal to strive for, but if it's too unrealistic, then you're biting off more than you can chew. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard Jiao Lao's words. Indeed, he was biting off more than he could chew, wanting to break through to Sky Class and extend Xiao Xiao's life. But now that he'd calmed down, Jiao Lao's words weren't without reason. He was only a Mystic Mid-Phase and there was still an Earth Class between him and Sky Class. Trying to break through from Mystic to Earth Class, wasn't biting off more than he could chew? If word got out, he'd be a laughing stock. It was unrealistic for other people to break through from Mystic Mid-Phase to Earth Class, let alone Mystic Mid-Phase to Sky Class. And Jiao Lao wasn't wrong at all. Even if he was a genius, he wouldn't be able to break through to Sky Class before Xiao Xiao died. In other words, even if he did break through to Sky Class, he'd only be extending Xiao Xiao's life, not actually curing her. So in order to solve Xiao Xiao's problem, he had to find out if there was a fire spirit's fruit in this world. If he did, he'd give Xiao Xiao one to suppress the cold energy in her body. That way, he'd have plenty of time to find a suitable cold energy practitioner's arts for Xiao Xiao, and he'd be able to guide her in her training. That should solve the problem once and for all. Thank you. Lin Yi nodded. In an instant he had figured out many things. I also don't want to see you work in vain. Jiao Lao waved his hand and said indifferently, but I still want to break through. This is not only to save Xiao Xiao but also for myself. The enemy is too strong, I must increase my strength. Lin Yi said, fuck. I've wasted my words. Jiao Yazi rolled his eyes. Do what you want. If you want to do useless work, then do it. If you can break through today, I'll tell you a huge benefit. A huge benefit. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Jiao Yazi's benefit was no ordinary benefit. The information he got from Jiao Yazi was extremely useful to Lin Yi, and this was all information Jiao Yazi told him without any conditions. This huge benefit had to be something even more powerful. Yes, I was going to tell you this benefit after you break through to the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, but if you break through today, then I'll tell you now. Jiao Yazi actually didn't want Lin Yi to continue tormenting him, but since Lin Yi didn't give up, Jiao Yazi said it out of anger. He didn't expect Lin Yi to take it seriously. Alright, it's a deal. Lin Yi nodded and continued to sit cross-legged, entering the state of cultivation. Jiao Yazi was a little speechless, but since Lin Yi insisted, he had nothing else to say. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and mobilized the energy in the space of the jade pendant. Everything in the beginning was easy for Lin Yi, but at the last moment he inevitably failed. Once, twice, thrice, all the way until the 10th time Lin Yi finally wanted to give up. It seemed like Jiao Yazi was right, he wasn't there yet. Although he had reached the peak of the middle phase of the mystic class, he was still lacking a little bit. Don't underestimate this little bit. There's a saying that a little bit of difference can lead to a great loss. However, Lin Yi remembered the benefit Jiao Yazi mentioned before and his heart itched. He opened his eyes and looked at Jiao Yazi. Jiao Lao, why don't I give up and you tell me what that benefit is? I say, Lin kid, what does it have to do with me whether you give up or not? What benefit do I have to tell you if you give up? Do you think I'm an old fool? Jiao Yazi couldn't help but laugh at Lin Yi. You brat, what a good plan, you give up and still want benefits? Do you think you're dreaming right now? Lin Yi blushed at Jiao Yazi's words, but this also made Lin Yi even more stubborn. Fine, then I'll break through for you to see. Then continue. Jiao Yazi nodded. Let's continue then, who's afraid of who? Lin Yi took a deep breath and decided to enter the next round of breaking through. This time, Lin Yi didn't train recklessly and blindly like before. Instead, he carefully recalled the feeling he had before he broke through. He felt that the energy he absorbed wasn't enough, just a little bit more, but the amount of energy he absorbed was already at the limit, he couldn't go any more, right? Did he really need to cultivate for a while longer, wait for the energy in his body to accumulate more and then think about breaking through? But if he did that, the benefits would be gone. And Jiao Yazi was completely a virtual person, forcing him was useless, so if Lin Yi wanted to know the benefits, the only way was to break through today. But how could he break through? Lin Yi furrowed his brows. Looking at Lin Yi's thoughtful look, Jiao Yazi found it a little funny, thinking to himself, this kid really wants to know what the benefits are? When you cultivate the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, you'll naturally know the benefits. But now, even if you know the benefits, what's the use? Your strength isn't at the second stage, you can't use it even if you know. Lin Yi still didn't know that he was actually schemed by Jiao Lao, who promised him an unrealistic benefit. If he knew this earlier, Lin Yi wouldn't be so eager to break through. A little more energy, a little more. How can I get a little more? Chapter 12:20. Finally breaking through, is it really possible? No matter what, I'll know once I try. Lin Yi thought of an extremely crazy way to experiment. This method was a little risky, but if it succeeded, then Lin Yi would have found a way to level up that was different from other traditional methods. The benefits that this would bring would be immeasurable. In other words, if this method succeeded, then even if Lin Yi couldn't reach the full circle of each level in the future, he could use this method to forcefully break through. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's face was a little excited, but also a little nervous. Because this was not a normal method but a very dangerous one. Whether or not it would bring any benefits was still uncertain, but whether or not it would bring any negative effects was also very hard to say. So Lin Yi had to be very, very careful. If he were to get injured because of this, then the gains would not make up for the losses. The method that Lin Yi thought of was energy compression. Lin Yi had mastered the energy compression method. Not only could he compress the energy inside his body, but he could also compress the energy outside his body. Right now, Lin Yi's situation was that under the same circumstances, the total amount of energy that he could absorb was fixed, but after compressing the energy he could absorb more energy. This was like a file in a computer. A hard disk could only store a certain amount of data, but if it was a compressed file, then it could store more data. So this was also a possibility that Lin Yi thought of. Since he only needed a little bit more energy to break through, then he could directly absorb some of the compressed energy and let it be released in his body. That way, wouldn't it be the same as absorbing more energy? But this idea was a little crazy and dangerous. This was one of his trump cards, the energy bomb. Against an enemy, it could blow them up into a bloody mess, but if he used it on himself, he couldn't be sure that nothing would go wrong. But what Lin Yi thought was that since the energy was the same as the energy in his body, it was the same attribute, then even if the energy was suddenly released, it could be absorbed by him, unlike others who would be directly blown up. Therefore, this was the most important reason why Lin Yi wanted to experiment. After thinking for a while, he remembered that even if he was injured by the explosion, he still had the ability to heal himself. Plus, he had the yellow-tiered dog as his trump card, so he didn't have to worry about not being able to deal with any accidents. Once this idea of his was realized, the benefits it would bring would be endless. Lin Yi took a deep breath and activated the art of dragon mastery, gathering all the energy in the jade space around him. But this time Lin Yi didn't rush to absorb it. Instead, he compressed the energy around him. Of course, this compression was only on a small scale and with a small compression ratio. Lin Yi did not dare to compress with a high compression ratio like an energy bomb for the first time. Lin Yi was afraid that he would blow himself up and not even have the chance to recover. Jiao Yazi originally had nothing to do and looked at Lin Yi with a mocking expression. But when he saw what Lin Yi was doing, his expression changed. The next moment, Jiao Yazi realized what Lin Yi was going to do and wanted to stop him. Little Lin, wait. Jiao Yazi was shocked. If Lin Yi was really going to do what he thought, then it was indeed crazy. However, when Jiao Yazi opened his mouth, Lin Yi had already absorbed the compressed energy into his body. In an instant, Lin Yi's face suddenly turned red, showing an unhealthy expression. The compressed energy was instantly released in Lin Yi's body. Lin Yi only felt like he was a balloon that was about to burst. His whole body was like an air bag, bulging and uncomfortable. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt like they were compressed together and there was no space left. Pfft! Lin Yi instantly spat out a mouthful of blood. This high-intensity expansion of energy made him feel like he was going to explode. It was indescribably uncomfortable. When Jiao Yazi saw this scene, he instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. How could he do such a thing? He's simply courting death. However, since Lin Yi had already done it, then Jiao Yazi could only watch helplessly from the side. He wasn't a real body and was only a shadow, so he couldn't interfere with what Lin Yi was doing. Sigh. Little Lin, I hope you can succeed. I'm afraid you're the only one in the world who dares to break through like this. Jiao Yazi muttered to himself and shook his head. However, when he recalled Lin Yi's daily actions, how many crazy things had he done? Previously, he used this energy bomb to blow others up, and now he used it to blow himself up. This person, for the sake of cultivation, he would do anything. Although Lin Yi was extremely uncomfortable, he could still hear Jiao Yazi's words. He suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, no matter what, Lin Yi could only clench his teeth and persevere. He couldn't give up now. He had to persevere. If he didn't persevere, then all his previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore Lin Yi clenched his teeth. Since he couldn't resist, then he would enjoy it. Therefore Lin Yi began to enjoy the refreshing feeling that his body was about to explode from the energy. It was really refreshing, so refreshing that he could die. Boom. A loud explosion sounded. Lin Yi only felt that his eardrums were vibrating. His body finally couldn't withstand the accumulation of energy and exploded. However, Lin Yi knew that this kind of explosion wasn't a real explosion. It was an illusion brought about by the moment of breakthrough. Breakthrough, really breakthrough. At the same time that Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief, the energy around his body also slowly dissipated. At the same time, Lin Yi's face also gradually returned to normal from the initial flush. His entire body no longer felt like it was about to explode. Instead, it became a comfortable feeling as if he had just woken up. His entire body felt like it was filled with energy. It was indescribably comfortable. Peak middle phase mystic class. Jiao Lao head, I'm really amazing. I can actually break through like this. Lin Yi jumped up and danced happily. The sense of accomplishment brought by leveling up wasn't enough to make Lin Yi so excited. The reason why Lin Yi was so excited was that he found a shortcut to quickly break through the barrier. Using the method of energy compression to break through was far faster than cultivating slowly. This method was proven. That meant that Lin Yi could continue to cultivate. Every time he reached the barrier of a level, he could do this. Then Sky class would probably not be a dream anymore. And you broke through? Jiao Yazi was speechless. Other than speechlessness, there was nothing else he could say. Chapter 12:21. Storage Jade Pendant. Yeah. Jiao Yazi nodded. Jiao Lao, what are the benefits you mentioned before? Can you tell me now? Lin Yi looked at Jiao Yazi with a smile. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to have such a good memory. After breaking through, the first thing he thought of was to ask for benefits. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to break through. Now that Lin Yi had broken through, he was in a difficult position. This benefit could only be activated after cultivating the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. However, Lin Yi was only cultivating the first stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, so he couldn't activate it yet. Therefore, even if Jiao Yazi told Lin Yi about the benefits, he could only drool. He could see it but not touch it. What? Jiao Lao, you won't go back on your words, right? Lin Yi looked at the silent Jiao Yazi and was a little anxious. The benefits that Jiao Yazi mentioned must be unique. Lin Yi naturally didn't want to let it go. I won't go back on my words, but this benefit doesn't have any practical use for you now. Jiao Yazi thought for a while and said, do you really want to know? Yes. Lin Yi nodded with certainty. No practical use. Lin Yi didn't believe it. Since Jiao Yazi described it as a great benefit, it must mean that this benefit was huge. It couldn't be an ordinary benefit. Alright, since you want to know, I'll tell you. Jiao Yazi nodded and said, the space you are in now is actually a fourth-dimensional space. Not only can you cultivate in it, but you can also use it as a storage space. Storage space? Lin Yi was stunned. That's right, a storage space. It's similar to the storage ring, backpack and storage bag you play online games with. You can put items from the outside world into this storage space. It won't increase the weight and you can take it out whenever you need it. Jiao Yazi explained. Lin Yi listened to Jiao Yazi and was surprised and happy. So this jade pendant can also be used as a storage pendant? I can put all my belongings in it? Theoretically, yes. Jiao Yazi nodded. It's really a great benefit. Lin Yi had heard of magical treasures such as storage rings, storage bags and space rings. However, most of them were in novels or games. He didn't expect that he would have such a treasure one day. Alright, I've told you about the benefits. Jiao Yazi said. Wait, Jiao Lao, what do I have to do to put items from the outside world into the space of the jade pendant? Lin Yi wasn't stupid. Jiao Yazi only told him about the function of the space of the jade pendant, but he didn't say how to use it. This made Lin Yi anxious. I don't know about that. Jiao Yazi shook his head as if it had nothing to do with him. Lin Yi was stunned. You don't know? Yes, I only told you about a benefit, but I didn't say how to use it. Jiao Yazi smiled cunningly. Lin Yi glared at Jiao Yazi, not knowing what to say. What's the point of telling me this benefit if you don't know? Isn't that the same as not saying anything? This benefit is that after you open the next stone door and get the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, you'll be able to use it naturally after you practice it. Jiao Yazi explained. This benefit is something you'll get after you practice the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. I'm just telling you in advance. Lin Yi was a little disappointed, but he was looking forward to it. At least this way, the benefits Jiao Yazi told him weren't just empty words. It was something that could be realized. Once he practiced the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, he'd be able to realize this benefit. Just thinking about it made Lin Yi feel that it was very useful. He'd be able to perform magic for Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. If Jiao Yazi knew that Lin Yi wanted to use this benefit to perform magic, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. This benefit was something that many practitioners yearned for, but Lin Yi only wanted to use it to perform magic. What a waste. Yes, after you open the first stone door, it's not just the stone door that opens but also my memories. Jiao Yazi said. You know that I'm just a phantom, not my real body. There are some things in my memories that are suppressed and sealed, and they'll be unlocked when the stone door is opened. So after you open the first door, my memories of the things on the first floor were added. Of course, there were also memories of the things on the second floor. That's why I know about this benefit. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded in realization. No wonder Jiao Yazi only knew part of the things, and it was very vague at that. His memories came back with the opening of the stone door. No wonder he didn't know about the jade's prediction ability when he asked him about it. Perhaps this was one of the benefits of the jade, but it wasn't time for it to be revealed yet. Perhaps it would only be revealed when he reached the third or fourth stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. But for some reason a small part of it had been unlocked earlier. Alright, I've said what I needed to say. You'll know the details when the second door is opened. Don't miss it. Jiao Yazi said. I understand. Lin Yi nodded, suppressing this benefit to the bottom of his heart. If he kept looking forward to this benefit, it'd affect his temperament, and it wouldn't be good for his training. so it was better to let nature take its course. This benefit would belong to him sooner or later anyway, and he couldn't run away from it. Lin Yi adjusted his state of mind and returned to reality from the space of the jade. Today's training was coming to an end. He had just broken through and he needed to consolidate his strength. If he wanted to continue breaking through, he'd really be biting off more than he could chew. One should know that a great building starts from the ground and more haste makes waste. A balance between work and rest was the eternal truth. Opening his eyes, Lin Yi saw darkness. The sky wasn't bright yet and it was still night time. It was also pitch black outside the window and only the hazy moonlight could be seen. Chapter 12:22. Xiao Xiao's last wish. In this period of time, Lin Yi had unknowingly fallen in love with this girl who dared to love and hate. He liked her from the bottom of his heart and he didn't want her to leave his side. When there's a will, there's a way. It sounded nice, but sometimes there was nothing that could be done. Lin Yi bent down and kissed Xiao Xiao on the cheek. Xiao Xiao seemed to have sensed it and a sweet smile appeared on her face. She opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi before falling asleep again. Lin Yi didn't disturb her anymore. He picked up her phone from the bedside. Lin Yi wanted to see what other wishes Xiao Xiao hadn't fulfilled. In the days to come, Lin Yi would help her fulfill these wishes first. After all, this was a warning to him that Xiao Xiao really didn't have much time left. He had to be prepared for all eventuals. He had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, and at the same time he had to make sure she was happy. Even if there was no way to cure her, she'd still have a happy ending to her life. Picking up Xiao Xiao's phone, Lin Yi opened the notebook app he found earlier and found the My Wished folder. He opened it silently. Although peeking at Xiao Xiao's privacy was a bit immoral, it wasn't a problem of morality anymore. Lin Yi's intention was good. He wanted to understand Xiao Xiao's wishes, and then help her fulfill them one by one. As of now, the wishes he saw before, other than the push down the superstar Su Shirhan, which was a bit unbelievable and Lin Yi couldn't help Xiao Xiao fulfill it, the other wishes were all fulfilled. As for this push down the superstar wish, Lin Yi could only give up. He couldn't really drag Xiao Xiao and Su Shirhan into some threesome, could he? Lin Yi sweated just thinking about it. Opening My Wish, Lin Yi found the place he saw last time and continued looking. After the push down the superstar wish, there was another wish that was related to this wish. When is Su Shirhan going to hold a concert in Songshan? I really want to see it. It would be best if I went with my best friend and boyfriend. It's best to take a picture with Su Shirhan. Below this wish there were 2 comments. The first comment was from a long time ago, more than a year ago. The comment read, "Went to Yanjing for a checkup. Coincidentally, Su Shirhan was having a concert there. But because she was hospitalized, I didn't get to see her. Oh, I'm so pissed." The second comment was written a few days ago. "I have my bestie, I have my boyfriend, I'm just missing Su Shirhan." Lin Yi was speechless as he looked at the comments on the second day. But he was thinking, couldn't this Su Shirhan hold a concert in Songshan? If it didn't work out, he could ask Fatty Lai to sponsor the event. There was a possibility that this wish could be realized. After memorizing this wish, Lin Yi went to look at Xiao Xiao's next wish. "I hope that when I leave Lin Yi, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, Yushu and my dad won't be by my side. Let me leave quietly, I don't want them to be sad for me." Looking at the date of this wish, Lin Yi's face froze. The date was the day before yesterday. Lin Yi felt a lot of emotions. It seemed that Xiao Xiao had a premonition that her life was coming to an end. Perhaps her body was already very uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she quietly stayed at home alone and didn't tell anyone. If it wasn't for Tianlong's accidental discovery, Xiao Xiao would have really left this time. Lin Yi sighed softly. Xiao Xiao, if you really left like this, I'd blame myself to death." Lin Yi shook his head. This wish needed more thought and Lin Yi decided to look at the other wishes. But the wish ended here. This was the last one and also the newest one. It seemed that Xiao Xiao hadn't added any other wishes yet. So, the remaining unfulfilled wishes were to go to the celebrity Su Shirhan's concert and have a threesome with her. The concert could be researched, but as for the threesome, he decided to forget about it. Lin Yi turned off Xiao Xiao's phone and put it back carefully. Lin Yi decided to go check on Tang Yun. From Xiao Xiao's room to the living room, Lin Yi tiptoed towards Tang Yun. Even though Lin Yi's footsteps were very light, not even making a sound, Tang Yun still woke up, perhaps because of telepathy. One had to know that Lin Yi had gone through special training, and even assassination missions were nothing to him. The sound of his footsteps couldn't be heard by a normal person. But Tang Yun opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi, confused. What's wrong? Is it morning already? No sleep. I'm just here to see you, Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Would Tang Yun think he was a pervert? Sneaking here in the middle of the night? Oh. I can't sleep well in a different place, Tang Yun stretched. How's Xiao Xiao? Asleep? Yeah, she's asleep, Lin Yi nodded. You sleep too, I'll go back now. Don't go, stay with me for a while. Tang Yun hesitated before calling out to Lin Yi. Tang Yun didn't want to fight with Xiao Xiao, but Xiao Xiao was obviously asleep, so it was fine for Lin Yi to stay with her for a while. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. As long as Tang Yun didn't think he was a pervert, it was fine. Lin Yi walked over and sat beside Tang Yun on the sofa, holding her hand. Tang Yun smiled and closed her eyes. Her heart was at ease, and not long after she fell into a deep sleep. Lin Yi had just leveled up and he was full of energy. He wasn't sleepy at all. Holding Tang Yun's hand, Lin Yi closed his eyes and enjoyed this moment of warmth. Lin Yi wasn't a conservative person, but he wasn't a playboy either. Suddenly having two girlfriends caught Lin Yi off guard, but now that they were together, it was a different kind of warmth. Especially when the two girlfriends didn't fight for each other and got along well with each other. This made Lin Yi feel very happy. In the blink of an eye, it was morning. Xiao Xiao's biological clock was very accurate, and she woke up at 6:30. She didn't see Lin Yi and she was shocked. Was she dreaming last night? Lin Yi didn't come. Chapter 12:23. Chapter 12:21. House Kang's new test, but the disappointment only lasted for a split second, and Xiao Xiao felt that she was being too stingy. Tang Yun was Lin Yi's wife and she was the second. Lin Yi was with her first and then Tang Yun. He was already treating her very well. What was there to be disappointed about? Lin Yi, honey, you're not being nice. You came out to see Tang Yun sis in the middle of the night. Xiao Xiao giggled. I got here at 4 in the morning. Lin Yi said, blushing. Tang Yun woke up as well. She was a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao, I didn't ask him to come, he did it himself. Alright, Yun sis, I didn't say anything. Isn't this good? From now on we'll spend half the night together, no one loses out. Xiao Xiao smiled. Yeah. Xiao Xiao's words made Tang Yun sigh. Was there really a future? Did Lin Yi have a way to cure Xiao Xiao? After breakfast, the three of them drove to the school. As usual, they parked the car at the food street behind the school. Then the three of them walked to the classroom. The 12th year was a busy one, and when Lin Yi got to school, the Miss and Shu were already there, reading in their seats. Meng Yao nodded when she saw Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao enter the classroom. There were a lot of people in the classroom and it wasn't convenient to talk too much. She'd ask them during lunch break. Kong Xiaobo, on the other hand, was very excited today. He turned his head when he saw Lin Yi. Boss, sis-in-law, good morning. Sure. Xiao Xiao smiled and accepted the salute. Tang Yun would have blushed a lot. So Xiaobo called Tang Yun by her name most of the time when there were outsiders around. Why are you so excited today? Lin Yi frowned. Isn't Fin healed? I'm so happy. Xiaobo chuckled. After that, I brought her to meet my parents yesterday and they were really satisfied. Isn't that great? Now it's settled. Lin Yi nodded. That's right, I have to thank you, boss. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. Kong Xiaobo said gratefully. Do you have anything to do with it or not? Lin Yi glared at him. If you have nothing to do, then hurry up and read. Lin Yi wanted to talk to Xiao Xiao about Su Shirhan, but Kong Xiaobo just kept talking. There is something, of course there is something. Kong Xiaobo lowered his voice and said, Boss, guess who called me yesterday? Who? Lin Yi frowned and asked. He didn't expect Kong Xiaobo to play this kind of riddle. Kong Mingming. Kong Xiaobo said. Him. Why did he call you? Lin Yi was a little surprised. House Kong finally couldn't sit still anymore? They wanted to buy information from Kong Xiaobo again? He wanted to ask me for some insider information. Xiaobo said, Kong Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions, but the main point was basically Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's import channels. He also asked me if we changed the formula for the injury medicine. Xiaobo said, Kong Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions. What did you say? Lin Yi didn't expect that Kong Mingming wasn't that stupid. He could think of the problem. But it was no wonder. House Kang's golden creation had a lot of expensive ingredients. Not only were the prices high, but there wasn't a lot of production either. The supply couldn't meet the demand. This was the main reason why House Kang's golden creation was always out of stock. It wasn't that House Kong wanted to starve the market, but House Kong really didn't have enough ingredients to make so many medicines. Of course I didn't say anything. I said I'm only the vice president and my main responsibility is the sales channel. Fatty Lai is in charge of the production and Professor Guan is in charge of the research, so I don't know anything, Kong Xiaobo said with a smile. Okay, but if he wants to ask for more information and give you money, you don't have to reject him, Linny said with a smile. Of course there's a fat sheep giving me money, it's a waste not to take it. Kong Xiaobo nodded and said, oh right, I said I'm in charge of sales, but Kong Mingming asked me about the factory price of our injury medicine. From what he said it seems like he wants to buy in bulk. Buy in bulk? Linny was stunned. Yeah, I think they want to buy our products and change the packaging before selling them. Kong Xiaobo said. That's possible but let's see. If they want to buy it then let them buy it. It's impossible to give them the factory price. Let them find a place to sell it, Linny said nonchalantly. If House Kong really did that, then when House Kang's golden creation entered the market, it would be a great opportunity for him to attack them. They were digging their own graves. As long as this news was publicized at the right time, House Kang's medical group would be completely ruined. Linny didn't believe that Dr. Kong would be so stupid as to do something like this. Okay, if Kong Mingming has any news I'll let you know immediately. Kong Mingming nodded. Kong Mingming turned his head and the physics teacher walked in preparing to start the lesson. Lin Yi naturally had to give up on talking about superstars with Xiao Xiao and focus on the lesson. Xiao Xiao on the other hand seemed to be enjoying this time with Lin Yi. Deskmate lover, this was a wonderful feeling. It was the best experience of her life, and she didn't want to miss out on the last moments of her life. At noon Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu went to the second floor of the school cafeteria. There were a lot of people and it wasn't good to eat in the public cafeteria. Some things weren't good to say and they'd be a joke to others. The manager of the cafeteria of course knew Meng Yao, and so when Meng Yao requested it he cleared out a room on the second floor and turned it into Meng Yao's private room. Meng Yao didn't like the privilege of a miss, but for Xiao Xiao she had to use it. Otherwise, Lin Yi would have a big wife on his left, a small wife on his right and she and Shu on top of that. What would people think if they saw that? Xiao Xiao, are you okay? Shu and I were shocked when we heard that you fainted yesterday. Meng Yao didn't know that Xiao Xiao was dying on the surface, because Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't have the chance to tell them yet. Chapter 12:24. Chapter 12:22. Yushu's framing Lin Yi and Tang Yun looked at each other. Since Xiao Xiao said that, it meant that she didn't want Meng Yao and Yushu to know about it for now. The two didn't bring it up again. Meng Yao and Yushu on the other hand knew about it so they played along. I see, that's good. Meng Yao nodded. Then let's eat more food today? Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else. Xiao Xiao didn't want to bring the topic back to her illness. During class, Lin Yi had already secretly texted Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu about Xiao Xiao's wish, so Meng Yao naturally brought the topic to Su Shirhan. I heard that Su Shirhan released a new single? Meng Yao pretended to be nonchalant. Oh, I think so. The entertainment channel introduced it yesterday, Yushu said after some thought. Really? I didn't hear about it. I was busy all day yesterday, I didn't have time to watch TV. Tang Yun turned to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, right, do you like Su Shirhan? I do. Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up at the mention of Su Shirhan. I'm a fan of hers, I have all her albums. Is that so? Me and Shu too. Meng Yao said happily. So did you join Su Shirhan's fan club? Nope, the fan club events are all in the main cities. We haven't held any here and we'd have to pay the membership fee for nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head. That's true, it's a shame that Su Shirhan never held any events or concerts in Songshan. Tang Yun nodded. Yeah, I've always wanted to see her concerts but I never got the chance, Xiao Xiao said, disappointed. Maybe if Su Shirhan holds another concert we can go to another city? It's convenient now anyway and we'll be there in a bit if we take a plane, Meng Yao suggested. Yeah, let's treat it as a vacation, let Shield Bro accompany us. Yushu added. That. Xiao Xiao was a little moved. To be honest, she really did want to go, but she was a little worried. I'm fine, I don't expect to study well, but you guys do, right? The college entrance examination is not far away. If you go out at this time, you will fall behind in your homework. Xiao Xiao's worry wasn't unreasonable. She didn't know how long she had left, so she didn't care if she could get into college or not. But Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu were different. He could tell that they were hardworking and wanted to get into a good university. Wouldn't he be harming them if he dragged them to a concert? Oh, that little bit of homework is nothing to Genius Shu, and you need to strike a balance between work and rest. Yushu said indifferently, right Yao Yao sis? Yeah. Meng Yao smiled bitterly. If she didn't do well in the exams, then she'd have to ask her father for help. With House Chu's current wealth, it wasn't a difficult thing to do, but it was a completely different feeling compared to the one she'd gotten herself. But Meng Yao didn't regret it. Life was the most precious thing and she didn't know when Xiao Xiao would leave. She couldn't let her leave with regrets. That was why Meng Yao suggested this. I don't care, I can't get into college anyway. I'll just let Lin Yi spend the money, he's the big boss now, Tang Yun joked, easing the atmosphere. Yeah, if we can't get in we'll have to rely on Shield Bro. Xiao Xiao, you'll have to rely on him too. Yushu said. Yeah, it's decided then. Xiao Xiao nodded. Everyone said that, and if she kept acting like that she wouldn't appreciate it. At that moment Xiao Xiao sensed something. Meng Yao and Yushu's attitude was weird today, as if they were purposely going along with her. Could it be that they knew the truth? It was possible. Maybe Lin Yi or Tang Yun had told them already, but they didn't point it out. At that thought Xiao Xiao felt very touched. She was really lucky to have a few good friends like this before she died. Soon the food was served. At this time the chef in the cafeteria was free. The big pot of food was already ready, and the food the miss ordered was delivered quickly. Yao sis, those kids from the orphanage are so pitiful. We get to eat such delicious food every day, but they have to calculate what they eat every day. Yushu sighed as she looked at the food on the table. Yeah, Shu, didn't you say you were going to have a donation event? What's your decision? Meng Yao was very concerned about the kids in the orphanage. What's going on? What kids from the orphanage? Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao paused. They didn't go to the orphanage with Lin Yi yesterday, so naturally they didn't know what was going on. It's like this. These things couldn't be explained in a few words, so he might as well start from when Gooden borrowed money from Yu Xiaoka and tell her the whole story. There were no outsiders here, so Lin Yi didn't hide anything. He even told them how he met Yu Xiaoka. So that's what happened. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't know much about Yu Xiaoka, but after hearing Lin Yi's story, they were just as shocked as Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. It really isn't easy for Yu Xiaoka running around for the orphanage. She's a thief, but she's much better than those hypocrites. Meng Yao sighed. Yeah, that fox Song Lingshan really is despicable. He even hurt Yu Xiaoka. If Yu Xiaoka didn't meet Shield Bro and something happened to her, what would happen to the kids in the orphanage? Yushu said angrily. You can't say that. It's the law of the world for the police to catch a thief. Officer Song has her duty, but Yu Xiaoka is a good thief. Tang Yun said fairly. Yun sis, why are you so dumb? You're even putting in a good word for that fox Lingshan, she's your love rival. Yushu said, panicking. Love rival? Tang Yun paused. When did Lingshan become her love rival? Chapter 12:25. Can't just do it, huh? Tang Yun's eyes went wide, her face flushing red. This Yushu was way too fierce, daring to say anything she wanted. Shu, what are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense, Lingshan wouldn't do something like that, would she? Meng Yao had been misunderstood by Yushu once before, back in the cave when she was sucking Lin Yi's blood, and Yushu said that it was something like that. Thinking about it, Lingshan might have been a misunderstanding as well. Plus, with her understanding of Lin Yi's personality, even if Lingshan wanted to do it, Lin Yi might not agree to it. The two weren't familiar with each other and Lin Yi wasn't lustful at all. How could he take the bait so easily? If it was Tang Yun helping Lin Yi like that, Meng Yao would believe it, but if it was Lingshan she wouldn't believe it at all. There's no one else here, what's there to be afraid of? Yushu said nonchalantly. Are you serious? That Lingshan is that cruel? Xiao Xiao asked. Of course it's fake. Lin Yi patted Xiao Xiao's head helplessly. How can we believe Shu's words? Why can't we? I'm the famous prophecy Shu, everything I say basically comes true. Yushu said confidently. Shu, you can't just make random prophecies. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Nothing was going on between Lin Yi and Ling Shan yet, but if Yushu made a prophecy, things would really get out of hand. Ugh. Yushu stuck out her tongue, realizing that her words weren't appropriate. Wasn't she pushing Lin Yi to Ling Shan's side? All right, let's talk about the orphanage's donation. Lin Yi pulled the topic back. Yushu was getting further and further away from the topic, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't let her continue. If it were in the past, it wouldn't be a big deal. But now there really was something between Lin Yi and Ling Shan. Lin Yi couldn't help but blush as he listened to Yushu's words. It was better to stop her from talking. Lin Yi is right. Let's study the fundraising event first. Meng Yao nodded. I didn't talk to Dad yesterday because of Xiao Xiao. I'll call him now and tell him about it. Well, it's better to tell Uncle Chu first. Lin Yi nodded and said, let Uncle Chu arrange it in the school. Talk to Principal Ding and have them organize it together. It will be more powerful than if we do it ourselves. Meng Yao took out her phone and dialed Ping Zhan's number. Yao Yao, why are you calling me at this hour? Ping Zhan was looking at some documents in his office. He was surprised to see his daughter calling him at this hour. Meng Yao had always been an independent girl. She wouldn't call Ping Zhan if there wasn't anything important. She had been in Songshan's first school for the past few years, and it was obvious that she needed his help. She was very different from the other misses. Daddy, there's something I need to trouble you with, Meng Yao said. Oh, my precious daughter is in some trouble? What do you need help with? Peng Zhan was a little surprised by Meng Yao's words. Back then, other than chasing Lin Yi away, Meng Yao had never asked him for anything else. It's like this. Shu and I want to organize a donation event in school. We want all the students to donate to the orphanage. Meng Yao said. Donation event? Donate to the orphanage? Peng Zhan paused. He didn't understand what his daughter meant. What orphanage? Daddy, it's like this. Meng Yao told Peng Zhan about what she saw at the orphanage yesterday. So that's how it is. Peng Zhan sighed after hearing his daughter's words. If that's the case, the orphanage's children are so pitiful. This donation event is very necessary. But Yao Yao, have you ever thought that although there are a lot of rich students in school, most of them are just using their parents' pocket money? Even if they were to donate, they wouldn't be able to donate too much. I'm guessing that the total amount of donations in a school is only around 100 to 200,000. It's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water. But even if it's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water, it's still a good thing for the orphanage. Meng Yao naturally understood this logic. It's better than me donating alone, right? How about this? I'll let Principal Ding send out invitations in the name of the school to some of the famous people in Songshan. If they're willing to donate, it'll bring a considerable amount of income to the orphanage. After all, the donations from these people and the students aren't on the same level. Pei Zhan sighed. Meng Yao's eyes lit up. As a businessman, her father's vision was broad. Meng Yao was pleasantly surprised. That's great. There'll be more people donating now. I'll discuss this with old Ding. Pei Zhan said. Right, Yao Yao, how's Lin Yi? Meng Yao paused. She looked at Lin Yi. He's fine. What's wrong? That's good. Let him answer the phone, I have something to talk to him about. Pei Zhan said. Peng Zhan's attitude towards the Xiao family brothers was very firm yesterday, but he was still a little weak inside. After all, the Xiao family had two masters from the hidden house pie. This worried Pei Zhan a little. After the Xiao family brothers left yesterday, there was no movement. Today, Peng Zhan took a look at the company's stocks. There wasn't much movement. He didn't know what the Xiao family was going to do to him. Peng Zhan was very concerned about Lin Yi's safety. As long as Lin Yi wasn't injured and hospitalized, House Chu would be safe for now. Uncle Chu, what's up? Lin Yi took the phone and asked. Hey, how are you? I heard that you were very busy yesterday, so I didn't tell you in detail. I heard from the Xiao family brothers that some hero went to Yao Yao's villa and beat you to the hospital? Peng Zhan asked. Hero? Beat me to the hospital? Lin Yi paused. The Xiao family went to look for you again yesterday. Yeah, that's what happened yesterday. Peng Zhan didn't seem to be faking the shock in Lin Yi's voice. He was a little confused. Could it be that the Xiao family brothers came here to talk nonsense? There was no hero at all and Lin Yi wasn't injured. Chapter 1226. Chapter 1224 Xie Yufeng's visit. Oh? Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben can't sit still anymore? Lin Yi was surprised, but there really isn't a hero. Wait, the hero they're talking about isn't Gooden, is it? Gooden? Who is he? Peng Zhan asked. It's a brother from my hometown, he's here to give me the medicine. What happened yesterday was actually like this. Lin Yi told Peng Zhan about how Gooden went to get revenge on the lion and sent the two masters from Xiao family to the hospital. No wonder. They brought this powerful Gooden to your place, thinking that he didn't know you and would hurt you, so they couldn't wait to cause trouble for me. Peng Zhan realized, but they still have the mood to cause trouble when their own masters are injured? They really did it. They're probably afraid that the news of the Pi masters being injured would spread, and they wouldn't be able to threaten you anymore. Lin Yi analyzed with a smile. That's why they're in such a rush. If that's the case, then I won't worry anymore. But that brother of yours is really strong. I heard that the two masters from House Pi are really strong and they were sent to the hospital by him. If Xiao family knew that Gooden master was your brother, they'd probably be scared out of their wits. Peng Zhan laughed, his worries gone. With Lin Yi and Gooden there, what was there to be afraid of from Xiao family? As arrogant as Xiao family was, he'd have Gooden send them to the hospital after the Pi masters were discharged. Don't worry about them. If they come looking for trouble again, I'll have Gooden scare them a little and get some money from them. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Lin Yi smiled. That's true. Then I'll go call old Ding and discuss the fundraising. Yao Yao and Shu, you'll have to pay more attention to them. Peng Zhan said. After ending the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan called the headmaster of Songshan's first school, Bing Gong, and told him about the donation event. It just so happened that the first high school was going to hold a singing competition and invited celebrities to donate. They couldn't just ask for money without any ceremony, right? Therefore, Ding Bing Gong's idea was to combine the singing competition and the fundraising event. The school would select some of the better performances and hold a fundraising event at the same time as the finals. The celebrities who came to the charity would also participate in the singing and dancing competition's selection. This would liven up the atmosphere and also show respect to the donors. Peng Zhan was quite satisfied with Bing Gong's suggestion. Bing Gong was a capable man and he'd been managing Songshan's first school well for the past few years. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan had given him such a heavy responsibility. This was a private school and a key school at that. The headmaster here had a lot of power, and if his abilities weren't up to par, then the school's reputation would be overtaken by other schools. But it wasn't enough to just have ability without self-control. If there was corruption, then the school's culture would plummet. If the headmaster took the initiative to accept gifts, then wouldn't the other teachers follow suit? The school's reputation would be ruined in a few years. But Bing Gong wasn't just a righteous man, he was also very capable. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan trusted him. After the matter was settled, Bing Gong gathered the vice headmaster and Dean Wang Jifeng to the meeting room to discuss the specifics of the donation event. Ling Shan walked out of Director Chen's office with a serious expression on her face, her eyebrows furrowed. There weren't so many things happening when Yang Huijun was the captain, but she'd just taken over the position not long ago, and all the cases in Songshan came one after another. The missing persons cases were getting more and more intense, but there was no pattern to the people who went missing. They were from all walks of life. Butchers, drivers, grocery sellers, trash collectors, hotel attendants, mall security guards, street sweepers and so on. Ling Shan looked at the pile of files in front of her, feeling like she didn't know where to start. These people were all missing and without exception they'd gotten into a small conflict with someone, and then ran away after injuring the person. The injured people, on the other hand, weren't seriously injured and weren't at the level of being wanted for crimes. These types of cases were the easiest to overlook, and so the files they received were very simple. No one took it seriously, and only Ling Shan noticed that something wasn't right and reported it to Director Chen. Today, Director Chen was looking for Ling Shan to discuss the possibility of combining the cases, and told her to solve them as soon as possible. Even if these cases were coincidental, she had to find the people who ran away. A lot of people ran away from their families and they reported them to the police as well. It didn't have a huge impact on society, but it did cause panic in some people. In order to prevent the case from getting serious, Director Chen wanted Ling Shan to solve it as soon as possible. Ling Shan felt a headache coming on. Looking at the pile of files in front of her, she felt like she was looking for trouble. If she didn't report these thoughts back then, she wouldn't be in trouble today. But Lingshan didn't regret it. She was a righteous person and she couldn't just ignore these strange cases of people going missing. She couldn't do that. Dang dang dang. Someone knocked on the office door. Come in. Lingshan didn't think much about it. After all, there were a lot of people looking for her during office hours. Lingshan, are you busy? It was Xie Yufeng, one of the people Lingshan didn't want to see the most. Lingshan raised an eyebrow when she heard the voice. What are you doing here? Aha, isn't it already noon? I wanted to invite you for lunch, but I know you're busy and you weren't in your room when I came. Your colleague said you went to the director to discuss work, so I went out to buy lunch. With that, he waved the bag in his hand and smiled. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's eat together? Lingshan frowned. Without a doubt, Xie Yufeng was being very considerate. If it were Lin Yi, Lingshan would be overjoyed. But this was Xie Yufeng and that was a different story. I'm not hungry. You eat, I still have work to do. Lingshan looked at Yufeng faintly before lowering her head and looking at the file in front of her. Chapter 1227. Chapter 1225. Song Lingrun had to admit that Yufeng was quite good at picking up girls. One sentence closed the distance between him and Lingshan. They were both practitioners and they had a common topic. Previously, when he was repeatedly rejected in school, it was only because the girls that he had taken a fancy to and wanted to pursue already had someone in their heart. That was why they were so cold to him. But what Yufeng didn't know was that Lingshan had someone else in her heart as well. Then leave it there, I'll eat it later. Lingshan couldn't just tell Yufeng to leave. After all, House Yu's face was there, and she knew the situation House Song was in right now. She didn't want to offend House Yu if she could. Eat it now, it'll get cold soon. It won't taste good. Yufeng said as he took out a box and put it on Lingshan's table, smiling. Grandpa Song told me to take care of you. If you don't eat it, I won't be able to explain it to him. I can only call Grandpa Song and ask for forgiveness now. Lingshan was pissed when she saw that Yufeng was really going to take out his phone. This guy was using a chicken feather as a token of authority. But Lingshan, naturally, wouldn't let him bother her grandpa with something like this. She could only take it helplessly. All right, let's eat first. That's right. Yufeng smiled and put his phone away. He took out another box and sat in front of Lingshan's desk eating. Looking at Yufeng eating in front of her, Lingshan felt that the atmosphere was a little weird, making her very uncomfortable. She could only eat as she read the files, not giving Yufeng a chance to talk to her. You don't have to work when you eat, right? There has to be time for rest, right? Yufeng said. There's a case, time is tight. Lingshan said faintly. What case? Tell me, I'll help you analyze it. 2 people is better than 1, right? There's a saying that 2 heads are better than zhuge liang. Yufeng said. Sorry, it's a secret. Lingshan naturally wouldn't give Yufeng the chance to talk to her. Lingshan's reply made Yufeng quite troubled, but there was nothing he could do about it. She said it was a secret after all, so he couldn't just keep asking. After finishing her lunchbox, Lingshan pushed it to the side and continued reading the case files. Yufeng, on the other hand, sat in front of her for a while. He didn't have anything else to do, so he got up and packed his lunchbox. All right, Lingshan, go to your stuff first. I'll come see you tomorrow. I won't be at the station tomorrow. I'm going to East Ocean City. Lingshan had wanted to go to Donghai tomorrow morning, but after hearing what Yufeng said, she changed her mind. She'd leave at noon to avoid him. Lingshan was going to Donghai to see Huaijuan, to show him the case file and ask for his opinion and analysis. Huaijuan wasn't just Lingshan's master, he was also her big brother, the vice director in charge of criminal investigation. So it made sense that Lingshan wanted to talk to him about work. It might seem a little useless, but Lingshan didn't mind. She was brought up by Yang Bro and she was his follower. What was so embarrassing about asking him for help? Huaijuan had been in Donghai for a while now working on a case. Lingshan had to go to Donghai if she wanted to see him. I see, how are you going? Do you want me to drive you? I bought a car here, a limited edition Lamborghini. Yufeng said. I have a car and I'm going to work. What's with you driving me? Lingshan was speechless. Was this guy sick in the head? Driving her out in a Lamborghini? Wouldn't people think that she was corrupt? Yufeng saw that Ling Shan was adamant on rejecting him, so he could only leave. After sending him off, Ling Shan shook her head. This guy was really annoying, even bringing up her grandpa's name. What would she do if he came to her office every day? Ling Shan's phone rang and she pulled it out. It was an unknown number. Ling Shan subconsciously thought that it was Yufeng. She didn't want to pick it up, but what if it wasn't him? There were a lot of unknown numbers that called her every day, and some of them were related to cases. Ling Shan still picked it up. "Hello, I'm Ling Shan," Ling Shan said after picking up the phone. "Sis?" A pleasant female voice came from the other side. "Rui?" Ling Shan paused. "Why are you here? Aren't you in training? You can't just call?" It was Ling Shan's sister, Ling Rui. She'd been in training a few years ago, and she could only call her family during Chinese New Year. Otherwise there was no contact at all. So when Ling Rui called, Ling Shan was both surprised and happy. "Hee sis, I'm almost free. This year is the 4th year of special training, and he received the Medal of Warrior from the training camp with excellent results." Song Ling Rui said happily. Ling Shan counted with her fingers. In a flash, Ling Rui had finished her training already. Time really did fly. Thinking back to that time, the little girl who'd cried her eyes out for her had actually gotten a warrior's medal. It made Ling Shan very emotional. 4 years ago, in order to prevent House Song from falling and for Ling Rui to become stronger, her grandpa decided to send his sister to the harshest mercenary training camp. Thinking back to that weak, crying sister of hers actually got the highest honor in the training camp. "Congratulations, Xiao Rui," Ling Shan said sincerely. "Then what's your decision? Are you going to stay in the training camp or come back?" "Let's not talk about me first. I just called Grandpa. Sis, I heard that you have a boyfriend?" Ling Rui asked, curious. "Boyfriend?" Ling Shan's face darkened. "You heard about House Yu's Yufeng, right? I don't like him." Ling Shan didn't have anything to hide from her own sister. She liked him. If she didn't, she didn't. Chapter 12:28. Brother-in-law, I don't like him anyway. I hate him whenever I see him. Plus he's not the only mystic mid-phase peak. Ling Shan humphed. Do you have someone else in mind, sis? And this person is very strong, a master too?" Song Ling Rui and Ling Shan had been close since they were young. Their minds were connected, so Song Ling Rui was suspicious the moment Ling Shan opened her mouth. Yeah. Ling Shan didn't deny it. She couldn't tell her grandpa about this, but she could tell her sister. Rui's mouth was tight too. Hee, as expected. Song Ling Rui said excitedly, "Quickly tell me about brother-in-law. How powerful is he? Is he as strong as that Xie Yufeng?" "Much stronger than him." Ling Shan's heart was filled with sweetness at the thought of Lin Yi. "What's Yufeng? He might have some strength, but who knows how many elixirs he used to accumulate it. He's just a young master, dumb and not responsible at all." "But when did the young generation of experts become so many? I'm not in the country, but it seems like only house you can break through to mystic from noble houses, right?" At this point, Song Ling Rui's tone suddenly became sluggish. "Wow, sis, is brother-in-law from a hidden family?" "I don't think so. He's not from a noble house." Ling Shan thought about Lin Yi's situation and denied Ling Rui's guess. Lin Yi wasn't from a noble house, and he shouldn't be from a hidden house either. Ling Shan had never heard of a hidden house coming out to be a common world girl's bodyguard. Trained by himself? A mystic? Ling Rui's eyes widened. "His background is a bit mysterious, probably similar to yours from some training camp." Ling Shan frowned. She'd known Lin Yi for so long, but she didn't even know Lin Yi's background. "Wow, this brother-in-law of mine is so mysterious. I'll have to meet him. Just how strong is he?" Ling Rui was getting more and more curious. "I'm not too sure myself, but it's all thanks to him that I was able to reach Golden Class late phase peak." Ling Shan really didn't know how strong Lin Yi was. She heard that he beat up Ma Zhu, a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner, half to death, so he shouldn't be weak. "Ah? Brother-in-law helped you improve your strength? Wah. Sister, you've already cultivated together?" Song Ling Rui was very gossipy and exclaimed, "You've actually already done it. Sister, quickly tell me, did it feel good doing that thing with brother-in-law? How does it feel?" Ahem. Ling Shan almost threw the phone away. She blushed and coughed twice. "Xiao Rui, what are you talking about? How could a child's thoughts be so complicated? What do you mean by done or not done? There's nothing going on between me and him." There's nothing between us. Ling Shan said that, but she was grumbling inwardly. She was offering herself up for free, and Lin Yi didn't even want to do it. Just thinking about it made Ling Shan feel suffocated. Was she that bad? Sis, I'm already 18, okay? I'm already an adult. Song Lingrui wasn't happy that her sister always treated her like a child. Then how did you improve your strength without cultivating together? Speaking of which, you might not believe it, but he used the method of transferring qi into my body and I broke through. Ling Shan felt that it was unbelievable every time she thought about it. Lin Yi was too strong, wasn't he? He could improve like that. Song Lingrui was stunned. He used his own qi to improve your strength? Wow, sis, brother-in-law loves you so much. I'm so jealous, so romantic. It's all right. Ling Shan thought, according to what you said, he also loves dogs. But she couldn't say that. Even if she was her own sister, she was too embarrassed to say it. Hearing Ling Shan's casual words, Song Lingrui thought that Ling Shan did it on purpose. She was envious. I'll definitely find a boyfriend like brother-in-law in the future to help me improve my strength. You're just a kid, what's there to look for? Ling Shan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Right, Rui, let's not talk about this for now. When are you coming back? I'll have to wait a little longer. I can graduate after I get the medal. Song Lingrui said, when that time comes, I'll have to discuss with Grandpa whether I'll go to work or come back to university. It'll all depend on Grandpa's arrangements. Ling Shan nodded. Song Lingrui was only 18, the right age to go to university. It was indeed a little early for her to start working after coming back. She should learn more in school and broaden her horizons, so that she could help Grandpa handle the Song family's affairs in the future, and wait for her brother to grow up and officially take over the Song family. That's right, if you want to go to school, come to Song's Han. We sisters can see each other often, Ling Shan said. Of course, I still want to see brother-in-law. I can help you check him out. If he can't pass me, I won't recognize him as my brother-in-law. Song Lingrui said with a smile. Take care of yourself first. Kids shouldn't get involved in adult matters. Ling Shan's heart was beating like a drum. Lin Yi wasn't her boyfriend at all, and if Rui said something inappropriate she'd lose face. So, it was best not to let her get involved in this. Let's talk later, I have something to do here. I'll hang up first, sis. Someone was calling Song Lingrui, and so she hurriedly said and was about to hang up. I'll call you when I'm free. I'm always free now. Looking at the phone, Ling Shan shook her head, her gloomy mood lightening up a lot. She shook her head and went back to her work. Xie Yufeng's face was a little dark after leaving the police station. Even an idiot could tell that Ling Shan didn't like him. Xie Yufeng, who had everything he wanted in the house, had never been treated so coldly before. Even in other houses, the head of those noble houses would look up to him when he showed off his identity as the heir of House Yu. This Ling Shan was acting all high and mighty. What was so great about it? Wasn't she just a golden class late phase peak who looked a little prettier? He was still a mystic mid-phase peak. How dare she give him that attitude? See how I'll deal with her when I get married. Xie Yufeng spat on the side of the road. She wouldn't be able to help Su Shirhan financially. Therefore, since Sister Wang said this, it meant that she had a certain degree of certainty about the authenticity of this matter. That was why she told me about it. No matter what, there's no harm in trying. Wang Sis said, I'll ask around these 2 days. If it's possible, we'll go. As long as there's hope, we have to try. Otherwise, with your illness, you really can't go on like this. All right, I'll trouble you then, Wang Sis. Shirhan nodded and entrusted the matter to Wang Sis. Tonight, Xiao sat in Lin Yi's car as usual after school, returning home. Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't go up. After all, Lin Yi stayed here yesterday and he should go back to House Chu's villa tonight. Tang Yun, on the other hand, had just moved yesterday and didn't have the chance to stay overnight. Naturally, she had to go back today. Xiao opened the door with the key and walked into the living room, but a handkerchief suddenly covered her mouth. Xiao's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to struggle and scream, but before she could, she fainted. The handkerchief had ether on it and it could make people lose consciousness quickly. There wasn't a lot of ether, so Xiao fainted quickly and woke up quickly. When Xiao woke up, she realized that she was tied up with rope, sitting on the sofa, unable to move. Beside her was a man she didn't know. Who? Who are you? Xiao Xiao asked subconsciously. You're awake? The man looked at Xiao Xiao and looked at the time on his watch. He said faintly, earlier than I expected. Help. Xiao Xiao suddenly screamed for help. She didn't know this unfamiliar man, but he tied her up. It was obvious that he was up to no good. The man didn't stop Xiao Xiao, only looking at her weirdly. He said faintly, "This is your own house, don't tell me you don't know? I looked at it just now and your apartment has really good soundproofing. Moreover, your room is covered with a ceiling and wallpaper which imperceptibly increases the soundproofing factor. So, to quote a very classic saying, you can shout to your heart's content. Even if you shout yourself hoarse, no one will hear you." Xiao Xiao wasn't an idiot, she shut her mouth after hearing the man's words. She'd only done it in a moment of desperation, and now that she understood that calling for help wouldn't work, she naturally wouldn't waste her efforts. "Why did you grab me?" Xiao Xiao asked. "Did you grab the wrong person? I don't even know you, I don't even know you. I just rented this place 2 days ago. Are you looking for the previous tenant? Alright, stop pretending. Don't think I don't know you're Xiao Xiao." The man waved his hand impatiently, stopping Xiao Xiao. "Keep your little smarts to yourself, I'm looking for you." Xiao Xiao was a little dejected. She'd wanted to trick this guy into letting her go. She didn't expect him to know her and even know her name. All her previous plans were useless. This guy clearly had a purpose and it wasn't a random kidnapping. Chapter 12:30. Chapter 12:28. Kidnapping, you can't make the decision even if I told you. The man said faintly. You're just a bargaining chip. I'm looking for your old man Feng Tianlong. You're looking for my dad? Xiao Xiao's eyes darted at the man in front of her, wondering how she could escape his control. I have nothing to say to you. The man looked at Xiao Xiao. I don't want to waste my time with you. Keep your little thoughts to yourself, don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Xiao Xiao was a bit troubled. This guy clearly wasn't an idiot. He knew that she wanted to escape, so he didn't want to talk to her at all. With that, the man ignored Xiao Xiao and called Tianlong. Hello, I'm Tianlong. Tianlong's voice came from the other side. Feng Tianlong? Hello. The man laughed when he heard Tianlong's voice. Hearing your voice makes me very happy. Who are you? The man's tone made Tianlong pause. Why are you looking for me? Of course I'm looking for you. The man looked at Xiao Xiao. Tianlong, your precious daughter is in my hands. How is it? You must be very shocked after hearing this, right? Tianlong's heart tightened. Xiao Xiao was in his hands? Who was this person? What was he planning? Was it really like what he said or was it just a scam? Who are you? What's your purpose? Tianlong was someone who did big things. He was nervous but his tone was calm. Tianlong, don't tell me you've forgotten who your enemy is already? The man laughed coldly. It seems like your memory isn't that good. If you don't even tell me your purpose and identity, then there's no need for us to talk anymore. Tianlong said faintly. He knew that if this guy really kidnapped Xiao Xiao, then he must have a plan. Instead of guessing, he might as well just tell him. Feng Tianlong couldn't just make random guesses. There was a system of secrecy involved. What if the person was a spy sent by someone? So Tianlong was sure that if he stopped guessing, the other party would tell him the truth. As expected, after a slight pause, the other party sounded angry. Feng Tianlong, if you dare to hang up the phone, your daughter is dead. Tell me your purpose. There's no need to threaten me. Besides, whether or not my daughter is really in your hands is another matter. Feng Tianlong said as he glanced at Li Yifeng. Li Yifeng immediately understood and began to quickly give orders to the technicians to locate the listener. Feng Tianlong, my goal is simple. I want to use your daughter's life to exchange for the safety of our second head in charge. The man said his goal. He wanted to lead Feng Tianlong by the nose and get some insider information from him, but Feng Tianlong wasn't someone to be trifled with. The man's plan was ruined, so he could only say his real goal. Second leader? Feng Tianlong paused. At this moment he was completely sure of the man's identity. From Red Conches? Aha, it seems that Mr. Feng isn't stupid. That's right, I'm from Red Conches. The man laughed. Since you know who I am, just one sentence. Do you agree to my conditions? You want me to release your second head in charge? Feng Tianlong frowned and asked faintly. The person this man was looking for was the baldy that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao captured at the underground racetrack. Red Conches was an international criminal organization. Since Feng Tianlong captured their second head in charge, how could he let him go? But if the other party really had Xiao Xiao as a bargaining chip, what should he choose? Should he choose justice or family? Feng Tianlong didn't think that as a secret agent he would have to make a choice. At this moment his heart was unsettled for the first time. Although on the surface he still looked calm and steady. Yes, it seems that Mr. Feng understands what I mean, the man said. What you choose is up to you, Mr. Feng. Your daughter should only be 18 or 19, right? She's at the age where she's as beautiful as a flower. It'd be a pity if she died like this. How do I know if Xiao Xiao is with you or not? Feng Tianlong looked at Li Yifeng, who shook his head at him. Evidently, Li Yifeng hadn't found the other party's location yet. The other party is using a number from a foreign telecom company. We need to crack a few gateways. Li Yifeng quickly wrote this on a piece of paper and put it in front of Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong nodded slightly, understanding Li Yifeng's meaning. Li Yifeng wanted him to continue stalling for time so that the technicians could crack it. Ha, Feng Tianlong, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. The man laughed in disdain. Don't you just want to talk to me a bit more to stall for time? So that your subordinates can find my current location, right? You can think whatever you want, I just want to confirm if my daughter is really with you or not. Feng Tianlong didn't think that his plan would be seen through, but even so Feng Tianlong wouldn't admit it. Okay, then I'll let you hear your daughter's voice so that you can be at ease. Then we can discuss if this deal is feasible or not. The man said nonchalantly and turned to Xiao Xiao. Little girl, say something to your father. Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao had been eavesdropping on the conversation between the man and her father, and when she heard that her father was trying to stall for time to locate them, all she could think of was how she could help her father stall for time. When she heard that the man wanted her to talk to her father, Xiao Xiao thought of an idea. If she didn't speak, wouldn't she be able to stall for time? Let her father locate her location? So Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Because this was the only way her father wouldn't be able to confirm whether she was in the man's hands or not. This was the only thing Xiao Xiao could do. Chapter 12:31. I don't have long to live, stupid girl, I told you to talk. What are you thinking? The man raged when he saw that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. But Xiao Xiao still didn't say anything, as if she didn't hear what the man said. Little girl, do you want to die? Do you believe that I won't rip your clothes off right now? And fuck you to death? The man got even angrier when Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Say, are you putting on an act? Tianlong had half believed the man's words, thinking that Xiao Xiao was in his hands, but now he was starting to doubt it. After all, Tianlong felt that if the man really was from Red Conches and wanted to save their second head in charge, he wouldn't lie to him and say that Xiao Xiao was in their hands. There was no point in doing that. But now Tianlong didn't believe it. If Xiao Xiao was in his hands, why didn't she move at all? This girl's pretty smart, knowing to buy time for you. The man smiled instead of getting angry. But it's fine, I'll buy time. Tianlong, believe it or not, it's up to you. But do you know why I'm still talking to you when I know you're locating me? Do you know why? Humph. Tianlong smiled coldly. He didn't like the feeling of being led around by the nose, so he didn't say anything. He didn't say that he didn't want to know, and he didn't say that he didn't want to know. If the man wanted to say it, then he'd say it. If he didn't want to say it, then there was no point in asking. I can tell you why even if you don't ask. The man smiled. Because I'm not afraid of you locating me at all. I can tell you my identity very clearly. I'm a death warrior trained by Red Conches. You know what that means, right? You don't need me to explain it to you, do you? But I think our Dragon Edge Special Agent Captain definitely knows what a death warrior is. Feng Tianlong's face changed when he heard the man's words. Of course he knew what a death soldier was. It was normal for an international criminal organization like Red Conches to have trained death soldiers. Such a terrorist organization would often carry out deadly missions and assassinations. That was when they needed death soldiers. Death warriors, as the name suggested, referred to warriors who dared to die. The training these people received throughout their lives was all for the sake of preparing for the final moment. Many of these people had already been deceived and were willing to die for the organization. They did not care about their lives at all. These kinds of people were the most difficult to deal with. Even if they were captured, they would not be able to get any useful clues out of them. No matter how you tortured them or how you promised them wealth and glory, these people did not care at all. As long as they had the chance, they would commit suicide. What are you trying to say? Tianlong's heart tightened. Today's matter wouldn't end well. Don't you understand what I'm saying? My goal is to save the second head. It doesn't matter if I die or not. Saving the second head is the only meaning of my existence. The man didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Instead, he said it as a matter of fact. I've already hidden explosives and detonators in my room. You can come and capture me or kill me. But let me tell you, the remote control for the explosives is implanted in my body. Once my heart stops beating, the remote control will be activated. I think these explosives are enough to blow up this 20-something floor building. At that time, not only will your daughter die, but all the innocent people in this building will also be killed. Wow, thinking about it, my death is worth it. So many people will die with me. Tianlong was shocked and angry after hearing the man's words. He didn't suspect that the man was lying at all. Red Conches was a criminal organization with a strong sense of terror, and this man was a death soldier. What he said was most likely true. What about me? Does it feel good? Also, let me warn you, don't try to capture me alive. If I'm caught, I'll bite the poison in my mouth and commit suicide. The bomb will still go off. The man warned. You're not afraid that I'll evacuate the people in the building first? Tianlong smiled instead of getting angry. Wouldn't you lose a lot of bargaining chips then? Sure, no problem, you can evacuate the people in the building, but I don't believe that you'll abandon your daughter. The man said nonchalantly. My goal is simple. You just need to release the second head of our organization, and I'll leave after I get news that he's safe. I won't blow up the building anymore. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Xiao Xiao looked at the man in shock. She didn't expect him to be this cruel. He was a death soldier after all. He didn't care about life and death, and he was willing to pay with his life to achieve his goal. Xiao Xiao was worried that the innocent people in the building would be dragged into this, but after hearing the conversation between her father and the man, she gritted her teeth and made up her mind. Xiao Xiao knew very well that once her father made the decision to release the second head of the Red Conches, her father's career would be ruined. He'd even be punished. Although Tianlong was the one who caught him, he couldn't just let him go like that. Xiao Xiao didn't want her father to make a mistake because of this. Her father had been a righteous man all his life, and he'd given up a lot for his career. How could she let him lose his career because of her? She didn't have many days left to live anyway. Her illness had flared up twice, and each time was more serious than the last. Lin Yi had used up a lot of qi and blood to save her. If this went on, it'd only be a burden to him. She was going to die sooner or later, so she might as well make her death meaningful. Dad, don't mind me, don't listen to him. After you evacuate the people, just let him blow me up. I don't have long to live anyway. Xiao Xiao suddenly yelled. Tianlong's heart skipped a beat when he heard his daughter's voice, but after hearing her words he felt emotional. Tears almost came out of his eyes. His daughter was willing to make such a sacrifice for him. Chapter 1232. Haggle over price. But even knowing this, Tianlong didn't want his daughter to die. He was willing to give up his life for her to live one more day of happiness. Girl, what are you yelling for? The man wasn't expecting Xiao Xiao to say something like that all of a sudden. He was pissed as he glared at Xiao Xiao. Shut your mouth. That I love you. If there's a next life, I'll be your daughter again. Help me tell Lin Yi honey that I love him too. If there's a next life, I'll be his concubine again. Tell Tang Yun sis and... Don't cover my mouth. Xiao Xiao was struggling. I'll let you speak, I'll let you speak. The man grabbed a towel and stuffed it into Xiao Xiao's mouth, blocking her mouth. Finally, he couldn't hear Xiao Xiao's voice anymore. He picked up the phone with a dark face, furious. Fuck, was there anyone in this world who wasn't afraid of death? He was a death warrior, of course, but was Xiao Xiao a death warrior too? The man's lungs were about to explode. It was a good situation for him, but Xiao Xiao's fearless declaration made him nervous. Feng Tianlong, are you sure that your daughter is in my hands now? The man's voice was a little suppressed. Girl, you've watched too many movies about heroism. You're not going to let your daughter die, are you? Let me think about it. Tianlong sighed. I can't make the decision on this. Your second head in charge has been transferred to Yanjing. I need to ask for instructions from the higher-ups. I don't care if you can make the decision or not. I just want results. The man said, I'll give you 2 hours, enough for you to negotiate. If there's no news in 2 hours, I'll activate the bomb and blow you up with your daughter. Of course I'll die too. Wait, 2 hours isn't enough. Time's too tight and it's after work. I can't guarantee that there'll be results in 2 hours. Tianlong stopped the man from hanging up. Alright, then I'll give you some more time. 3 hours should be enough, right? The man nodded. He didn't really care about the time. As long as Feng Tianlong was sincere in negotiating, he didn't mind giving him more time. He was prepared to die anyway, so he wasn't afraid of what Feng Tianlong would do. 5 hours. Feng Tianlong looked at his watch and said, I'll give you an answer in 5 hours. You know that I don't want my daughter to die. I have to fight for more time to work. Deal. The man relaxed after hearing Feng Tianlong's words. The length of time wasn't the main point. The main point was that since Feng Tianlong wanted to extend the time, it meant that he didn't want to give up his daughter's life. He wanted to save her. And so the more it was like this, the happier the man was. He was afraid that Tianlong wouldn't care about Xiao Xiao. After that, the man didn't waste any more time and hung up the phone. Tianlong let out a long breath. He didn't feel good in his heart, especially when he heard his daughter's last few words. Tianlong had the urge to cry. How sensible was his daughter? She didn't want to put him in a difficult position and was prepared to die. But how could he bear to see his daughter die? Captain Feng, we found their location. They're in the Lead Huashuyan district, building A19. We don't know the exact floor, but the investigators have arrived at the scene and are checking the signal. I'm sure we'll have results soon. Li Yifeng reported the current situation to Feng Tianlong. I understand. Little Li, keep an eye on it. Let me know immediately if there's any news. Feng Tianlong nodded. It was obvious that they didn't care about his investigation, so if he was right, it would be easy for him to lock onto the location of the signal. He should have an answer soon. But what could he do even if he knew their location? The enemy wasn't afraid of death at all. Once they died, the bomb would be activated. This was a hedgehog that couldn't be touched. Not only couldn't they assassinate him, but they also had to ensure his safety. Otherwise, not only would his daughter lose her life, but the entire building would also be instantly destroyed. Tianlong knew about Qianhuashuyan district. It was one of the most luxurious districts in Songshan. The people who lived there were either rich or powerful. If there was a big explosion here, it would have a huge impact on society. So Tianlong couldn't make a decision at this moment. Helpless, Tianlong could only report to his superiors. This was too big. He didn't agree to let them go, and the consequences of not letting them go were severe. He could only let the bureau chief decide. Bureau Chief Xia, I'm Feng Tianlong. Tianlong reported the sudden incident to Bureau Chief Xia with a gloomy mood. On the other side, Bureau Chief Xia didn't reply immediately. He asked Tianlong to evacuate the other residents in the building and wait for a meeting before making a decision. Little Feng, don't worry too much. Don't worry, from my personal perspective, I don't want anything to happen to Xiao Xiao. After all, she's your and Susu's only child. Susu is also an old agent here. I can't let her die with grievances, right? Bureau Chief Xia comforted Tianlong, but I'm not the only one in charge here. There are some things that must be discussed in a meeting. I understand, Bureau Chief Xia. No matter what the final result is, I will obey. Tianlong said. Hey, don't think too much. Right, time is running out. I'm going to call for a meeting. Bureau Chief Xia said. Tianlong hung up the phone and laid on the chair. His eyes were solemn. At this moment he seemed to have aged a lot. Captain Feng, don't worry too much. Why don't you give Lin Bro a call? Maybe he has a solution? Li Yifeng suggested. Li Yifeng knew Lin Yi's capabilities. Not only was he skilled in medicine, but he was also skilled in martial arts. Last time the second head of the Red Conches was captured by Lin Yi. Maybe Lin Yi had a solution. Okay, we have to talk to him about this. After all, he's Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. Tianlong nodded and picked up the phone. If it was yesterday, Tianlong might not have told Lin Yi about this. After all, his promise with Lin Yi was to pretend to be Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. It wasn't a surprise that they could buy a house here. Even if they couldn't use it in the end, they could still sell it for a huge sum of money. After all, Qianhua Shuyan's house price had more than doubled compared to when it first opened. Since the investigation was done, Tianlong told the police and the property management to notify the owners of building A16, telling them to leave their rooms temporarily. This building had a bomb installed and it could explode at any time. Chapter 1234. Let me go. Uncle Feng, how's the situation? Have you confirmed Xiao Xiao's location yet? Lin Yi didn't bother with small talk after seeing Feng Tianlong and went straight to the point. It's confirmed. The person who kidnapped Xiao Xiao is a death warrior from Red Conches. He's with Xiao Xiao on the 18th floor of building A16, but we don't know which unit, Feng Tianlong said. Feng Tianlong said, but this death warrior has already planted explosives in the higher levels, and the remote control for the explosives is placed in his body. It relies on the heartbeat to control the explosion. Once his heart stops beating, the remote control will detonate it. So there's no other way but to agree to his conditions. Can't I? What if we capture him alive? Lin Yi frowned. That won't work. There's poison in his mouth. If he commits suicide, the bomb will explode. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Death warriors aren't afraid of death. In their eyes, there's no fear of death. So we can't assassinate them or capture them alive. We haven't come up with a plan yet. We can only wait for the higher-ups to decide if we can release the second head in charge of Red Conches. I see. Lin Yi nodded. Uncle Feng, let me go take a look. You go take a look. Feng Tianlong paused. Little E, you're going to die if you go now. You can't do anything to him, but if you don't handle it well and anger him, he might take poison to kill himself. Then you and Xiao Xiao will be finished. He won't do that easily. Lin Yi shrugged and smiled. He'll only choose suicide when there's no hope. As long as there's hope to save the second head in charge, he'll do it. Oh. Feng Tianlong paused. Uncle Feng, there are two types of death warriors. One is forced and the other is voluntary. Those who were forced obviously wouldn't be sent to carry out this kind of mission. After all, this mission is very important. If there's any mistake and they fail because of the death warrior's betrayal, the Red Conches will lose more than they gain. Lin Yi analyzed. So, this death warrior is most likely volunteering. Since they were willing to risk their lives for the Red Conch, they had to have undergone strict training and were extremely loyal to the Red Conch. Since that was the case, he would prioritize saving the second-in-command of the Red Conches. This was an honor for someone who was loyal to the Red Conches. So, unless it's absolutely necessary, he won't choose to commit suicide before the mission is over, and we still have a chance. Oh? Now that you mention it, it seems to be the case. Feng Tianlong nodded after listening to Lin Yi's analysis. For a fanatic like this man, he would definitely view the life of the second leader as extremely important. This was because only by saving the second leader would he be able to achieve his ultimate goal in life. Whether he died or not was secondary. Because whether he died or not, it wasn't as important as the second leader. This was the reason why he was willing to use his life to exchange for the second leader's life. And Lin Yi only dared to try this because he knew what he was thinking. Haha, I've dealt with people like this before. Although they don't care about life and death, it's a completely different mentality to die after a successful mission and a failed mission. Lin Yi shrugged. So, I'll go up and see if there's a chance. Even so, your analysis is the truth. But it's still too dangerous for you to go up. Feng Tianlong hesitated. Even if you can talk to him peacefully, it won't help other than stalling for time. That's the 18th floor. Even if you want to escape with Xiao Xiao, you'll need some time to get down from the 18th floor, even if it's a jump. That'll be enough time for him to detonate the bomb and blow you and Xiao Xiao into pieces. Trust me, Uncle Feng, I won't do something stupid like that. Lin Yi smiled confidently. Alright, it's decided. I'm going up. Wait. I can't make this decision. I have to report it to the higher-ups. Feng Tianlong naturally didn't want to see Lin Yi go to his death. If Chief Xia agreed to release the second leader of the Red Conches, then Xiao Xiao might be able to escape, but it was only a possibility. Who knew if the Red Conch's men of sacrifice were trustworthy? Would they wait for the second-in-command of the Red Conch to escape before suddenly changing their minds and detonating the bomb to perish together? It wasn't impossible, it was very possible. Because the opponent was a death warrior, they couldn't be judged with common sense. It's fine. If Chief Xia asks, just say that I went up on my own accord, Lin Yi said faintly. Feng Tianlong wanted to stop him, but he saw the worry in Lin Yi's eyes and didn't stop him. Lin Yi was loyal to his daughter, and this made Feng Tianlong happy and touched. Plus, with Feng Tianlong's understanding of Lin Yi was a brave, smart and courageous person. He didn't do things on impulse. So, if Lin Yi asked to go up, it meant that Lin Yi had a certain level of confidence. At the very least, he wouldn't do something impulsive and irrational. So since Lin Yi said so, Feng Tianlong wouldn't stop him. Lin Yi had a very delicate relationship with his organization. Even if Chief Xia knew that Lin Yi went up on his own accord, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Ling Shan, on the other hand, frowned as she looked at Lin Yi's departing back, not feeling too good about it. Lin Yi was going to do something so dangerous? Didn't he know they were death warriors? Didn't he know there were explosives in the building? Was Xiao Xiao that important to him that he didn't care about his own life? Would Lin Yi have been able to save him if he'd been the one upstairs? Last time, Lin Yi also went into the tiger's den and saved her from the kidney trafficking company's dungeon. This meant that Lin Yi had a place in his heart. Ling Shan was happy again at the thought. Lin Yi naturally didn't know that Ling Shan had these messy thoughts. If he did, Lin Yi wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. Right now, Lin Yi didn't have much confidence in winning. He could only take it one step at a time. Lin Yi knew that the department wasn't united, and Chief Xia wasn't the only one. There were some things that he couldn't decide even if he wanted to. Chapter 1235. An unfavorable start. Looking at Lin Yi's back, Tianlong felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Xiao Xiao's life, meeting Lin Yi at the moment of her death, was really her fortune. With someone like Lin Yi who cared for her and loved her, Xiao Xiao could die with no regrets. This time, Tianlong didn't even know if he'd be able to come back down. Of course, Feng Tianlong could understand Lin Yi's deep feelings for Xiao Xiao. If it wasn't for his wife Xiao Susu having a daughter like Xiao Xiao, he would have thought about going to hell with Xiao Susu. But although Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have a child, the problem was that Lin Yi didn't only have one girlfriend. Lin Yi still had Tang Yun. How could he die with Xiao Xiao? Wouldn't he be letting Tang Yun down? Could it be? Lin Yi really had the confidence to win? Feng Tianlong's eyes narrowed. He understood Lin Yi's ability. Without a doubt, he was one of the best in the department. With that thought, Feng Tianlong's heart was filled with hope. He hoped that Lin Yi could bring him a miracle. He dialed Chief Xia's number. Feng Tianlong had to report the news of Lin Yi going up. It didn't matter if he could stop it or not, he had to let the higher-ups know. Tianlong? Chief Xia's voice was heavy. It's me. Chief Xia, what's wrong? Feng Tianlong's heart tightened when he heard that Chief Xia's tone wasn't right. Tianlong, I'm really sorry. No one agreed to release the second head in charge of the Red Conches. The impact of this is too big. We've already notified Interpol about the news of capturing the second head in charge of the Red Conches. If we release him now, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Chief Xia said helplessly, although I said that I'd rather resign and release the second head in charge of the Red Conches, I'm not the only one in charge here. The other people in charge don't agree. I understand your difficulties. It's nothing. Feng Tianlong had already guessed this result. Although he had a good personal relationship with Chief Xia, it didn't mean that he had a good relationship with the others. The other people in charge of the investigation department were all impartial. They wouldn't sacrifice the collective for their own benefits. However, if it was before Lin Yi went up, Feng Tianlong would be in a bad mood because this meant that Xiao Xiao was sentenced to death. But now Tianlong placed his hopes on Lin Yi. As for whether or not he could release the second head of the Red Conch, Tianlong didn't care. Tianlong, don't think too much. I will send a bomb disposal team to the scene to assist you as soon as possible. When Director Xia said this, he didn't have much confidence. If the man of sacrifice had placed the explosives in his room, then even the best bomb disposal experts would be useless. They couldn't possibly enter his room to defuse the explosives, right? That person directly detonated the explosives. It's fine, Chief Xia, I have something to report to you, Feng Tianlong said. Oh, did something happen on your side? Director Xia asked in a daze. Lin Yi is here and Lin Yi is alone. He is determined to face the red conch man of sacrifice. Feng Tianlong said. Lin Yi? What? Director Xia paused when he heard this name. You know Lin Yi? Only a few people in the investigation department knew Lin Yi's real name. Lin Yi wasn't a permanent member of the investigation department. He existed as an external helper. His code name was Eagle, and the other people in the department only knew him as Eagle. They didn't know his real name. So when Feng Tianlong said the name Lin Yi, Director Xia was stunned. Yes, Eagle from back then. Feng Tianlong said with certainty. He knew what Director Xia was confused about, but there was no need to hide it. When he met Lin Yi before, he didn't report it to Director Xia because he didn't want to hide anything. You are still in contact with him? You found him this time? Director Xia was shocked. He didn't expect Feng Tianlong to have a personal relationship with Eagle. He is my daughter's boyfriend. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Otherwise, why would he go at such a dangerous time? Director Xia was even more shocked. He is Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? No wonder. This world is too small. Yes, that's why Lin Yi insisted on going. I couldn't stop him since he isn't my subordinate and I can't beat him. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Old Feng, I'm not blaming you. Why are you explaining so much? But with Lin Yi's help, there's a good chance we'll be able to turn the situation around. Chief Xia said. I hope so. Feng Tianlong wasn't in the mood to joke with Director Xia and said sincerely. After ending the call with Director Xia, Feng Tianlong said to Li Yifeng, Little Li, tell everyone to leave the building and stay a safe distance away. Be on standby. Yes. Li Yifeng nodded and turned to give the order. Since Lin Yi went up, Feng Tianlong had to trust Lin Yi. The people near the building would only burden Lin Yi. Since Feng Tianlong chose to trust Lin Yi, he had to reduce his burden as much as possible so that he could do things without any worries. Sometimes the more people the better. Lin Yi didn't choose to climb over the wall. Instead he took the elevator and went up to the 18th floor. The elevator stopped at the 18th floor and Lin Yi got out. He observed the two houses outside the elevator. He could see a faint light through the peephole of one of the houses and the other was pitch black. Lin Yi chose the house with the light and took out some small tools from his pocket. He easily opened the anti-theft door without making a sound. The so-called anti-theft door could only prevent ordinary thieves. If it was a professional like Lin Yi, it would be useless. If it was really that anti-theft, the locksmith companies wouldn't have any business. Although Lin Yi was very careful, the person in the house was also very alert. The moment Lin Yi opened the door, the person spoke. Chapter 1236. Since you're here, don't leave. Lin Yi thought to himself that this guy wasn't a good person after all. He'd been very careful, but while he tried his best not to make any noise, there was still some noise when the door was opened. He tried his best to make it as quiet as possible, but it was inevitable that there would be some noise. It's me, Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. Lin Yi looked at the man calmly. Since he'd been found out, Lin Yi didn't bother putting on an act anymore and spoke frankly. He didn't want to piss this guy off and make him commit suicide. Woo. Xiao Xiao saw Lin Yi come in and was very agitated. She waved her arms and legs trying to say something, but her arms and legs were tied up. Even if she waved her arms and legs, she could only wiggle on the sofa. Plus, her mouth was gagged so she could only make noises. The man listened to Lin Yi's self-introduction, confused. This guy wasn't a cop, nor was he from the Supernatural Investigation Department, but Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? And looking at Xiao Xiao's excited and nervous face, this person was most likely acquainted with Xiao Xiao. Just stand there, don't come over and don't try to do anything to me. I'm telling you, don't even think about using the tranquilizer gun. An unconscious person's heartbeat is different from a normal person's. If my heartbeat slows down to a certain degree, it'll set off the bomb. The man warned as he looked at Lin Yi. He wasn't trying to scare Lin Yi, but it was the truth. This was to prevent someone from using the tranquilizer gun on him. The heartbeat of an unconscious or anesthetized person would slow down, and the bomb's remote would be activated as well. Don't worry, I won't do anything. Lin Yi's face was nervous and worried. I'm just worried about my girlfriend's safety. I don't want anything to happen to her. If anything happens to her, then I won't live either. So when I came up I was prepared to die with her. Don't worry, I don't have a gun. I'm not a cop. Although I think what you said is probably true, I'm sorry, but I still can't believe you. The man said faintly, there's no news from Feng Tianlong's side and I'm quite bored. Since you're here, let's play a game? As he spoke, the man pulled the towel out of Xiao Xiao's mouth. Xiao Xiao's mouth had been gagged for a long time, and it was very uncomfortable. She took the towel out and started panting heavily. Linny, honey, what are you doing here? He wants to blow me up. Didn't you get blown up as well? Hurry up and leave. This has nothing to do with you. Don't meddle blindly. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi, touched and angry at the same time. She was touched that Lin Yi treated her so well and didn't abandon her even in such a dangerous situation. But at the same time, Lin Yi didn't only have one girlfriend, he still had Tang Yun. If Lin Yi died with her, what would happen to Tang Yun? And Meng Yao and Yushu Xiao Xiao could tell. She wasn't sure if Meng Yao had feelings for Lin Yi, but Yushu definitely did. Lin Yi, on the other hand, shouldered the love of so many girls. If he died, these girls would hate her to death. He can't leave anymore. He's here, so he can't leave anymore. The man laughed coldly. What does he think this place is? You think you can come and go as you please? Even if I leave now, I don't believe you'd detonate the bomb. Lin Yi said faintly. Right now, Uncle Feng is negotiating with the higher-ups about releasing your second head in charge. If you detonate the bomb, then your second head in charge won't be released anymore. Lin Yi just wanted to make sure that this death warrior in front of him was the same as he thought. Saving his second head in charge was his first goal. As for whether he died or not, that was secondary. So Lin Yi used leaving as an excuse. In reality, even if he kicked Lin Yi out, Lin Yi wouldn't leave. If Lin Yi left, wouldn't he come here for nothing? But the man didn't know why Lin Yi came here. He didn't think much after hearing Lin Yi's words. He only laughed. Of course. You're right, my goal this time is to save my second head in charge. As for dying, I'm not afraid of dying, but I have to make sure I can't save him and teach Feng Tianlong and the Bureau a lesson. Then what if I leave? Lin Yi asked. If you leave, I'll take off your wife's clothes and fuck her. In the next few hours, whether Feng Tianlong releases him or not, I'll play with your wife non-stop. I'll fuck her to death. The man licked his lips like a pervert and said fiercely. As expected, after hearing the man's words, Lin Yi's face changed. He stood at the door with a dark face. He didn't know whether to leave or stay. Lin Yi, honey, leave. If he really dares to do that, I'll die with him. Don't worry, Xiao Xiao is yours for the rest of her life. She won't give it to anyone else. You still have Tang Yun, sis. Don't listen to him. Xiao Xiao saw the change in Lin Yi's face and thought that Lin Yi wanted to stay. In reality, Xiao Xiao didn't know that Lin Yi's face was purposely put on for the man to see. Lin Yi had to have a good reason to stay, right? If he stayed for no reason, the man would be suspicious. And the man's words gave Lin Yi an excuse to stay. No matter what, he could only act according to the situation if he stayed. Xiao Xiao, I won't leave you. Lin Yi gritted his teeth and said seriously. Lin Yi, honey, don't be so stubborn. And Tang Yun, sis, Meng Yao and Shu, what about them? You can't die with me. Xiao Xiao was panicking. He kept giving Lin Yi looks. Xiao Xiao knew a little about her father's organization. How could they let people go after capturing them? So Xiao Xiao didn't have much hope in this at all. She didn't want her father to make a mistake because of her. So this time Xiao Xiao was prepared to die. She didn't have long to live, so she might as well die. They were going to die sooner or later, and it was only a matter of time. Dying early would help lessen the burden on Lin Yi and the others. Let's go, coward. I'll kill her. Ah. The man seemed to enjoy scaring people. Chapter 1237. You kill yourself. So he was probably saying all this just to mess with Lin Yi. Of course, Lin Yi was more than happy to play with him. He'd only have a chance to make a move if he played with him, right? When you do that, aren't you afraid that your heart won't beat evenly and will detonate the bomb? Lin Yi looked at the man and asked. You don't know, do you? Only when the heart beats too slowly will it detonate. On the other hand, if the heart beats too fast, there's no problem. The man looked at Lin Yi and said proudly, completely shattering Lin Yi's fantasy. You. Lin Yi's face contorted in anger as he glared at the man, speechless. Good now. Looks like you treat your girlfriend pretty well, huh? The man started laughing. You'll die a horrible death. Lin Yi said with a cold smile. You're too right, there's no way a death warrior can die a horrible death. The man didn't care at all. Kid, now you know how impulsive you were, right? How about it? Not only can't you save your girlfriend, but you can't even leave. You dash. Lin Yi looked at the man angrily, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had calmed down, but she was a little confused. Lin Yi's behavior today was a little unusual, wasn't it? In the past, no matter how dangerous Lin Yi was, he'd always be calm and collected. He wouldn't show such intense emotions. For example, in the car race earlier, Lin Yi was still calm even in such a dangerous situation, but today he got so worked up after being mocked a little. This was different from the Lin Yi she remembered. And so, Xiao Xiao started suspecting that Lin Yi was doing this on purpose. Did he have a reason for doing this? At that thought, Xiao Xiao was pretty sure that Lin Yi was doing this on purpose, trying to achieve some sort of goal. If that was the case, Xiao Xiao wouldn't expose Lin Yi and she wouldn't react differently from before. She'd try her best to cooperate with Lin Yi. Lin Yi, honey, leave. I don't have long to live anyways, it doesn't matter if I die. Don't worry, if he dares touch me I'll kill him. Xiao Xiao said. Shut up, girl. The man glared at Xiao Xiao, annoyed. This girl was so annoying, always nagging. Go, Lin Yi, honey, go. Don't worry about me. Xiao Xiao didn't listen to the man at all, continuing to scream. You fucking shut up. The man was going crazy and he grabbed the towel and stuffed it into Xiao Xiao's mouth. Wah! Xiao Xiao let out a series of meaningless noises. It's finally quiet. The man dug his ear with his hand and looked at Lin Yi. Alright, kid, we can start our game now. What game? Lin Yi asked. Suicide game. The man's lips curved into a mocking smile as he pulled out a long knife from a bag beside the sofa and kicked it in front of Lin Yi. Suicide game? Lin Yi frowned as he looked at the long saber by his feet and asked in confusion. Brat, don't play dumb with me. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. The man looked at Lin Yi mockingly and said with a smile. Although your acting is not bad, I didn't believe you from the beginning. Dying on the same day, same month, same year? Pledging undying love? That's pretty touching, isn't it? You idiot, do you think I believe you? I'm just playing with you. Lin Yi's face darkened. He underestimated this man's intellect. It seemed like this guy didn't believe him at all. What? Did I see through you? Not talking anymore? The man humphed, pleased with himself. Let me tell you, you're still too young to play this shit in front of me. I believe you when you say you're this girl's boyfriend, but I don't believe you want to die with her. There are so many police down there, how could they let a normal person like you up here? Don't think I don't know who let you up here and how much responsibility you have to bear. What are you trying to say? Just say it, don't waste my time. Lin Yi said coldly. You don't want to listen anymore? But I want to finish. I'd be letting myself down if I don't show off my amazing reasoning skills. The man continued. So the only possibility is that you're a police or a member of the Supernatural Investigation Department, and at the same time, you're this girl's boyfriend. You didn't come up here to die with her. You wanted to take me down. If I guessed correctly, you wanted to step forward in an instant and dislocate my lower body, right? So that I couldn't bite the poison and commit suicide? Humph. Lin Yi humphed noncommittally. Let me tell you, luckily you didn't do that, otherwise you would be dead. The man said proudly, my poison is hidden in the upper part of the mouth. As long as you lick it with your tongue it will break. It has nothing to do with the teeth. Lin Yi replied with a cold humph. How about it? You have nothing to say, right? Your little trick is nothing in front of me. The man looked at Lin Yi contemptuously. Idiot. You want to deal with me? Go practice for another 10 years. Are you done with your nonsense? What do you want to do? Lin Yi asked impatiently. I broke your hope. Is it painful? Do you regret coming up? But there is no medicine for regret in this world. It's useless for you to regret. The man looked at Lin Yi and smiled. How about it? You feel aggrieved, right? Are you done? Lin Yi interrupted him. If you have something to say, say it. Since you are so eager to die, then I will fulfill your wish. The man sneered and said with some displeasure, I wanted to let you live a little longer, but you don't cherish this opportunity. Then I can't do anything about it. What do you mean? Lin Yi asked. Do you see the long knife on the ground? Now we are playing a suicide game. The The man pointed to the long knife in front of Lin Yi and said, "Now you pick it up and then insert it into your heart. Don't tell me you don't know where your heart is. Take off your clothes and stand in front of me and insert it. Insert it from head to toe. Insert it through your heart. You mean you want me to commit suicide?" Lin Yi asked as he looked at the long knife on the ground. "Nonsense, don't you understand?" The man said with some displeasure, "You are the one who wants to die. Who can you blame?" Chapter 1238. "There is nothing to be done, you will do it," the man said faintly. "I'm not a suicide warrior, are you sure you're not mistaken? Although I can't do anything to you, you don't have the right to ask me to do anything, do you? Don't forget, before your second head in charge is released, you won't set off the bomb easily." Lin Yi retorted. "You're right about this." The man was calm and unruffled as if victory was in his grasp. "But can I play with your wife? If you don't do as I say, I'll do it right now." "You..." Lin Yi's eyes were red as he looked at the man, his eyes almost shooting fire. "Don't go too far. So what if I bully you? What can you do to me?" The man looked at Lin Yi shamelessly. "If you're going to die, hurry up and die. I told you I wanted to play a suicide game, but you didn't understand. Who can you blame? If I knew this was going to happen, I would have just said a few more words. I'll count to 3, take off your shirt, stand in front of me and stab the knife into your heart. Otherwise, don't blame me for doing something to your girlfriend." Well, Xiao Xiao was really panicking now. No matter what Lin Yi's original intentions were, the situation had clearly deviated from its original path. The man clearly wanted to kill Lin Yi, and if Lin Yi really did as the man said, would he be able to live? Would he be able to live with a knife in his heart? How could Xiao Xiao let Lin Yi do something stupid? But she couldn't say a word and could only make some meaningless noises. Lin Yi took a deep breath and looked up at the man, his face serious. "If I do as you say, will you let Xiao Xiao go? Won't touch her?" "Yes. I'm not a good person, but I have a good reputation." The man nodded. "If Uncle Feng releases your second head in charge, will you let Xiao Xiao go and let her leave safely?" Lin Yi asked. "Of course." The man said, "If your people really let second head keeper go once he is out of danger, he will contact me and I will release Xiao Xiao. Don't worry. Although we are a terrorist organization, we still have credibility. We mean what we say." "All right. In that case, I can agree to your request." Lin Yi took a deep breath and looked at Xiao Xiao with a tragic look. A bitter smile appeared on his face. "Xiao Xiao, take care." Woo, woo, Xiao Xiao was panicking. She tried her best to get the towel out of her mouth, but how could she spit it out? Lin Yi smiled and nodded to Xiao Xiao as he started unbuttoning his shirt. "I'm taking off my clothes. Can't it be inserted from the outside? Take it off. I need to see where your heart is." The man was obviously worried about Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would play some tricks. Lin Yi didn't say anything and continued to unbutton his shirt. When the last button was undone, Lin Yi took off his shirt, revealing his strong and muscular arms. "Kid, I didn't know you had muscles. Looks like I was right. You are the police or someone from the investigation department," the man said proudly. "How can a normal person have such strong muscles?" Lin Yi humphed and didn't say anything else. He just threw his shirt on the ground. "Not bad. Looks like you are quite obedient. Now pick up the sword in front of you and end your own life." The man nodded in satisfaction. Lin Yi didn't say anything else. He silently picked up the sword from the ground and held it in his hand as if he was checking its sharpness. "Come closer and kill yourself in front of me," the man ordered Lin Yi. Lin Yi held the sword and walked closer obediently. "Okay, now raise the sword and stab it into your own heart," the man ordered. "Remember your promise." Lin Yi looked at the man and then at Xiao Xiao. "Don't worry about that. Hurry up. Don't waste time. I might change my mind." The man's eyes were bloodthirsty. "Don't wait until our second in command is out of danger. I choose to blow you up together." Lin Yi nodded and raised the sword. The tip of the sword was pointed at his own heart. "Wait, let me see it clearly." The man signaled Lin Yi not to act rashly. He wanted to check if the position below Lin Yi's sword was his heart. "I can still tell where the heart is," Lin Yi said faintly. "Not bad. It's here." The man nodded satisfied. "Woo." Xiao Xiao was panicking. She didn't think that Lin Yi would really choose to kill himself. Why would Lin Yi do this? No, absolutely not. She wasn't worth Lin Yi doing so much for her. Xiao Xiao's tears came out of her eyes. She was a girl who didn't cry easily, but at this moment she couldn't hold back her tears. She was someone who was about to die. How could she be worth Lin Yi doing this? Plus, her motive for getting together with Lin Yi wasn't pure. She dated Lin Yi with the intention of getting back at Lin Yi. She was someone who deserved to be punished, but she dragged Lin Yi down with her. No, absolutely not. But other than the meaningless syllables that came out of Xiao Xiao's mouth, she couldn't say a complete sentence. This scene is very touching, isn't it? The man looked at Xiao Xiao's heartbroken face and his smile widened. Kid, let's begin. Lin Yi nodded and raised the sword, aiming it at his heart and stabbed it in. The sword didn't stop. After piercing through Lin Yi's chest, it came out of Lin Yi's back. Just like the man said, Lin Yi used the sword to pierce through his heart. No. Xiao Xiao screamed in her heart. Could it be that this was Lin Yi's plan as well? In her despair, Xiao Xiao had to comfort herself that perhaps this was Lin Yi's plan. He would choose to attack the moment the sword pierced through his body. But seeing the sword pierce through Lin Yi's body, Xiao Xiao lost all hope. Lin Yi really did it. He really chose to kill himself. Why did he do this? Why did he have to do this? You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.